All right. Well, good evening, everyone, and welcome yet again to the Quiet Gentleman Network under the Rook and Rasp. And I am your DM for the evening, John, or GM for the evening, I should say. And welcome to Seriously Let's Play, the show that was once a podcast. And I guess there's a good way to describe it overall, and that is it was once a podcast on Southgate Media, and Nerd's Name is available on all your fine podcast services and a few of the less reputable ones as well. Uh, Last week we had Mitchell Wallace, who is running Necrobiotic for us. This week I am back and in the GM's Choir and joined by some exciting and hopefully excited guests ready to play, in the Weird War 1 RPG, and that is Never Going Home, where we will be facing off against invading forces in more than one way, I guess you could say. That said, this game does contain depictions of horror and war that may be unsettling or triggering to some of the people out there. And so, if these kind of things fall into a category that you just cannot participate in, we definitely understand. But just want to get that warning out there ahead of time. But that said, let's go ahead and meet some of our guests today. So we have up first, I'm going to go ahead and say we have Brandon Aten of Wet Ink Games, who is part of the release of this game. So, Brandon, thank you so much for coming on.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
Thank you. We're going to go ahead and get some of this done really quickly, but I'm going to say, because I really got a lot to do today. But we also have the esteemed artist who helped bring this game to life, Charles Ferguson-Avery. Thank you so much.
Hello, it's fun to be here, and also first time I've actually played the game, because it never quite worked out, but
And also today we have industry luminary and writer Dannie DeLisle. Thank you so much. I got to know Dannie from Ninja Crusade, which is one of the other games that we play. And so thank you so much for coming on the show.
Oh, thank you. I'm super excited. I've heard so many good things about this game, and I am super excited. I am ready. I'm ready to put myself in World War One. Well, as ready as anyone can be, I guess.
Definitely. And we have taken our fourth position today. We have the Nerds Domain owner and co-founder of Rook and Rasp, and who is the GM. I'm gonna pump you up, bud. You're the GM for the longest running single storyline campaign actual play of Call of Cthulhu, with almost 9 years of gameplay and over 200 2 to 3 hour episodes, starting in the Masks of Nyarlathotep and going into Acton Cthulhu.
Wow.
So please welcome Matthew Quiett.
Hey, I didn't realize I was the longest running, but yeah, thanks for coming out. I guess makes me look real much better than it originally I was thinking, because I'm like,
I know.
Writer, the artist, a luminary. Hi, I'm Matt.
How does one survive 9 years in Call of Cthulhu?
Oh, no.
Oh, you don't know.
No, I just kept telling the same story, and no matter how many characters I murdered or sent insane, it's just like, nope, we're
From
not
players to table flipped. But that said, so this is my table for the evening. Today we are playing Never Going Home, which is, if you don't mind me going into a spiel about it really quick, Brandon.
No, have at it.
All right, so this is what I would call a dice pool style game. That means that there are going to be dice that are rolled, and we're going to be counting successes to know how well we did. That said, this is unlike a lot of the other dice pool games where you're putting together two totals and then coming up with what you're going to roll. You have a skill that you are going to be rolling at the table. However many points you have in that skill, that is what you are going to roll. If you do not have points in that skill, you're going to have to purchase, using the system, which is called +1, you're going to have to purchase dots in that skill in order to be able to make that roll. So that is the basic understanding of it. That said, your skill points, or not your skill points, your attribute points, think of it that way, is also your health in the three categories thereof. So your dice pool can go down, is my understanding of it. So just be aware of that. That said, we also have another mechanic that is going to be involved, and that is drawing cards, which is going to be for what is called, initially, is going to be called the journey. And we are going to pass out cards to everybody. The thing is that you're going to play cards at different points for the journey. There are other times where you'll be receiving cards. You'll also be able to have use your cards to set your initiative place. You also will use your cards to negate damage that is done to you or even heal. The cards play a background role in that way. But that said, before we get started, does anybody have anything they need to say or any last minute questions?
This game is already out, correct?
Yes, it is.
And available over on DriveThruRPG if you want to buy the PDF. And is available on physical copies. I like the style of the book for these is very reminiscent of a trade paperback, and I love that feel. And the artwork, I'm not just saying this because the artist is sitting here, but the artwork is fantastic.
It's really beautiful.
It's very
It's
appropriate
beautiful.
to the time and to the setting. So I love the artwork.
So
Yeah.
real quick, I mean, from a design standpoint, when Charlie was doing his Inktober for World War Occult, which was the art book he created, and he released his art book in that 7x10 format, we wanted to make sure that anyone who had supported Charlie before and had World War Occult sitting on their shelf, we wanted to be able to make sure that our book sitting next to that would look just as good, like just completely in place. So yeah, we took that and ran with it, and we wanted to make sure that it looked like a journal and had the feel of the World War I setting. So that's good feedback. Thank you.
No, honestly, it is an amazing book. I do believe, if I'm correct, and I might not be, but y'all are up to 6 books overall for this game. Is that correct?
7.
Seven.
We have
Okay.
Yeah, there were 4 from the original Kickstarter, the core book, the Tome of Beasts and the Book of Whispers, and then a book of adventures that's called Once More Under the Breach, and that has so many adventures written by some fantastic people in the industry. And then we just released the 3 campaign books, which actually have connected adventures covering battles in the North Sea, the Battle of Gallipoli, and the what was going on during the Russian Revolution. And all of these are available, as you said, on DriveThruRPG as well as Indie Press Revolution.
All right. Well, with that said, we're going to go ahead and kick things off. Have we not kicked intro yet? Oh, I am so sorry about that. I thought we had kicked intro. Well, give us just a few minutes. We're going to toss our show intro in really quick. All right, there we go. We are back. So on the side, we are also using the playingcards.io program so we can have our cards up where everybody can see and everything's happening. Got a deep breath there going.
I saw my cards.
How you feeling, Danny?
George
All
might
good,
not
right?
George might not make it.
Oh. Well, that is kind of one of those things in this game. I will say that this can be a kind of lethal game, but let's be sure to touch on that. Remember, your cards can negate your damage 1-to-1. But also tossing this out for the players in the audience or people watching in the audience. We have 2 categories for today's game, and that is that you can purchase for 500 channel points. I believe you can purchase a reroll for one of our players, and the other one is for 1,000 points. They can get you can buy a card per player. Now a maximum is 4 times per player out there, but that should be a great way to save some characters if the players want to fall on your mercies. So, that said, let's go ahead and kick everything off. I'm going to do a little bit of narration at the beginning and probably switch it up here for y'all a little bit. But here we go. So, in the trenches. Days seem to bleed into night here in these trenches, with its rarely ending progression of thick fog and raining mortar fire. There are no stars by day or stars by night or signs by day to guide you. Just the pale orange glow that illuminates the landscape, slightly stronger than a campfire, and the occasional short-lived call to charge. If not for the solid hand that grasps your shoulder, you would have sworn it was a fever dream or hallucination when the young British Army officer appears beside you. Glory awaits, and duty calls, he says, beckoning you to follow. Expecting this to be your final moment in service, you're surprised when he hands you a fresh pack rather than a satchel filled with nitroglycerin and sawdust. You are equally surprised when you and over a dozen soldiers make the trek in the opposite direction from no man's land and exit the trenches. A mile up, a gradual incline, and away from the sounds of combat, you turn to look over your shoulder. Stretching out before you in the distance, the trenches that housed you and these troops who walk beside you now, merely looking like an ant farm, lines curving and crossing whose current denizens labor with an inhuman logic. Come on, soldiers, we have an important mission, the officer begins. He would have continued to speak, but a flower of crimson sprouts from his forehead. A long stem of jagged metal slowly withdraws back into the bed from which it sprouted, through his brain and out the other side of his skull. Holding this jagged spike stands a soldier who you once fought side by side with, but now stands corrupted. Sores on his face oozing the appearance of worms squirming below the translucent surface of his skin, a dead man's grin on his face. He is not alone. Now exposed to the light of day, there are a handful of vermin-infested living corpses amongst your number, the closest of which now attacks you and those closest to you. So I like to draw people right in, and let's get some story going, and tell me exactly what it is that y'all are going to be doing. All of you should have a card, or cards in your hand, and so I think it's about this time that we need to go ahead and figure out some initiative orders.
So highest card goes first. Is that what I understand?
Yes,
That is correct.
So we just toss it out?
You're going to place it out there, but you'll be pulling it back into your hand. You just need to reveal it.
Well, I was trying to not go first, but I guess I'll go first, guys.
All right. And so you guys are going to be up against some disfigured here. Just a moment there. Sorry, I'm having a little bit of an issue. All my puppies are happy that someone else is home.
Mm.
So, that said, I'm going to ask y'all to remember your initiative as you drew it. I think, Matt, you had a 10, correct?
Yeah, I did.
All right, so you are going to be going first. You are standing up there, and it seems that essentially it is the four of you together, and these figures of these disfigured, I should say, here in the midst of you. But it looks like there are others that have followed y'all up from the smoke and cover of the trenches that the rest of your company are also fighting. So it is essentially just the four of you defending one another.
Okay. So, weird question.
Yes.
I'm really only able to physically attack with brawn, correct?
Correct.
Cool. And since I don't have any skill points in anything useful or in training,
So that would be the melee or the
ranged.
Yeah, ranged, yes.
I would need to. Oh, I can fire guns with guts with ranged though. Okay.
Yes,
So
if you have guns with you, yeah.
Yeah, I would need to spend a card to get a dot in range to be able to
No,
use it. Or I can roll without that.
So the way this works is with the +1 system, you are looking at your guts, and you're going to need to spend points of your guts in order to buy dice. The first you have to buy the skill. That's the first thing that you have to do. So how many points of guts do you have?
I have 4.
All right, so that's a good number to have because the first point that you're going to spend lets you roll. The second point you
Okay.
spend gives you a dice to roll. So you have to have 2 points in order to be able to spend one in order to roll once if you don't have the skill. And you can start to add more dice to that roll with the other pips. So right now, if you wanted to spend all your dice ahead of the roll, you could spend the 1 for the skill and the 3 other dice for essentially 3 dice to roll.
And what's the downside to that?
Downside to that is successes in this game are 5s and 6s, which makes this a little bit more of a difficult dice pool style game. You could save 1 point back and re-roll, and only have a dice pool of 2, or save 1 back and knock one of your dice up a pip. That is essentially the best ways to use this.
Okay. So
Now, and
if I
just to
spend all
toss
of
it
my
out there,
dice- yeah, go ahead.
oh, I was just going to say, and to toss it out there, you can use your cards to also increase your numbers +1. It basically can act as part of the +1 system.
All right.
Yeah,
so I'm
you
gonna
can use a card to add a die, to buy a skill, to increase a pip, or to reroll. Any of those features.
Okay. So I'm going to spend 3 dice to roll 2. I'm going to keep 1 back just in case I want to modify or need to re-roll. I feel like that's the best option I've got. I'll shoot my rifle. I got a 2 and a 3. So if I spend the dice to re-roll, is it just 1 die or is it more than 1 die?
You can reroll everything and you have to keep what the result is. It's kind of like a last ditch effort.
Okay. So I did get a 5. So I have 1 success.
All right. So you take aim and shoot at this disfigured soldier that was once one of your allies, and a piece of flesh blows off, but it seems as if he is utterly unfazed by the strike.
Well, that's good. It's going well so far. Good.
Essentially, so the other side of this is that as your target numbers that I have to roll to attack you are, your guts, your brawn, your smarts. It's the same for these creatures.
Okay.
So this means that more than likely he has a higher score in that than what you've rolled.
That makes sense.
Mhm.
All right. I think that's my turn.
The good thing is
All
you
right,
get
so
to choose who goes next, right?
Oh, I
I'm
do?
sorry, John. I'm going to take off my GM hat.
no, please. I will welcome all the help I can. I play way too many systems, and there is a really good chance that I could mess up rules. So if people hop in, it's all good. I welcome it.
No, you're doing a great job. It's just that, I never get to play the game, so I should shut up.
Oh, no worries. This is the fun of being at a table, right? We all get to play and get along. So hey, that said, who goes next?
I
I,
think
ha-
Ted for. Oh, what? Go ahead.
I had a 6, so I don't know if anyone had.
So do I choose who goes first, or do we go in order,
you
or who goes next? I guess is the question.
you get to choose. Understanding that if we all choose all of our guys, eventually John could all be at the bottom of initiative, and then
Just
John
go
could
all of them.
choose all at the top of initiative. So it's a gamble.
Yeah, I'll let George go. George can try and hopefully kill something. I don't know.
Okay. So George, he goes wide-eyed, like, and pulls out his pistol, and he's gonna try to go back to back with what's your character's name, Matt? I forget.
It's Frank.
Frank. So he's gonna try to turn like the opposite way, like we can cover each other back, sort of thing, and he's gonna try to take a shot at one that's in front of him. All right, so he has so for his pistol, he has his pistol is 2 damage. And it's critical on 3. But his guts is 4.
So 4 guts. And do you have how much range do you have?
It doesn't. How much? Oh, I don't have range.
You don't have range, so
The
you're
skill.
you're in the
Yeah.
same boat that he was in,
Right.
and that is that you're going to buy the skill, spend as many dice as you want, pass that first point to buy up dice. So,
All right. I'm gonna do 1. I think that'll be good.
all right. So spending that point, so that's spending 1 point to get the skill, 1 point for 1 dice. So that's 2 points total, leaving you with 2 points left over.
Okay. So I'd be rolling just 1 die
Yes.
at this point.
Yeah.
All right. I guess I'll spend another to roll 2.
All right.
And I will roll here on the spinner. 1 and 5.
All right. So you still have 2 points left over. And
Cool.
that means that you can re-roll the one that you was rolled too low. I mean, that would be a good use of it because the other one is knocking up a pip, which knocking up that 1 to a 2 really doesn't mean
Yeah.
much.
Let me re-roll the 1. 4.
All right. So that is a 4 and a 5. Yes.
May I use one of my cards to bump up the pip by 1?
Ooh, thank you.
Is that Brennan? Is
You-
that normal that other players can use other cards on for other
Generally, it's only on your own roll unless it's a challenge. Yeah.
Okay, never mind.
I appreciate the thought, though. That's very awesome teamwork. I had a 4 and a 5. So.
All right. So with a 4 and a so that's going up from a 5 and a 5. Is that what you're saying? So we're looking at you having a 5 in one and a 5 in the other.
I got a 4 and a 5 because I've spent to re-roll. So
Right.
I have a 4 and a 5. So if a 5 is a success, I got 1 success.
You have
Yes.
1 more dice that you can pip it up to a 5.
Oh, I
You
can.
do.
Well, then I
Yeah.
will definitely do that for 2 successes. George will acquit himself well.
Normally,
hopefully.
if you re-roll, you have to keep the result.
Oh, okay.
Oh, there we go.
Then 1.
Well, that said, your shot also strikes him right through the mouth. You see teeth fly out through his cheek, but it looks like, say, a centipede moves along his jawline underneath the skin, and he just looks at you, the same look before with that mad, kind of grin.
This does not look good, Frank.
No, it doesn't.
All right, so initiative next.
Yeah. So I choose who goes next.
Yep.
Either one of the players or the let's have the rotting soldiers go.
Okay. So 2 of the soldiers are going to break off, going towards other targets. The one that you have attacked, though, is going to be coming for, and I'm going to say, is coming for Private George.
Ruh-roh.
So they instead, so this is a disfigured. He has 2 in ranged. but he has 4 in brawn. I'm tossing that out there for our people in the audience listening. So he rolled 2 range to shoot at you. He has 1 success, and he is going to spend 1 point of brawn to knock it up to 2 successes. This is a meet or beat game. How many points in brawn do you currently have? All right. So he is going to shoot, and it is going to strike you,
Dang.
unless you want to spend a card, or unless somebody in the audience has spent something.
Do I have to spend a particular card or just a card?
A
Any
card.
A card. I will spend this card then.
Actually, you get another card right back because Bink 026 has spent some points for you.
There we go.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right. So that said, what card are we looking at?
It's a 6 of spades.
6 of spades. I'm gonna say that you nimbly dodge out of the way. As the barrel comes up, you just step aside, and it strikes a stone on a old wall behind you.
Mm.
So initiative next.
That's your choice, John.
Ah, thank you. Sorry. We'll get this all down. I keep on thinking the players get all that choice. So I'm going to say out of our 2 that are left, so Charlie, why don't you go ahead and take a spin at it?
Oh boy. Okay, so I'm supposed to be driving trucks. This is not work for me.
You're not even supposed to be here.
I'm not. And not trucks, horse and buggy, like carriages. I have 3 brawn. So I am going to use one of those to buy the melee skill, and then use the other 2 to roll with what I assume. I guess I have a shovel with me or something. And I'm just gonna run up and try to hit it in the head. Oh, wait,
All right.
right. Spinners. Oh. Ah. Well, never mind. That's a 1 and a 4.
I'm not using that spinner again. I'm just
I
saying
don't
that
blame
right
you.
now.
I don't blame you.
That's a cursed spinner.
All right. So you will run up trying to swing at it with a great deal of bravery. Just, this shovel at this thing that has taken 2 bullets. And it steps forward, and you swing past on the other side and are now behind it. But we're going to go ahead and say that leads us now to Brandon.
All right. Well, Tedford steps up with his saber and takes a slash at the one that just leveled a weapon at George. And I have as I said, I have a sword, and I do have a significant amount of brawn. And I have training in melee.
Nice.
Thankfully, somebody.
Soldier that knows combat. Yay.
So because I have 2 training in melee, I'm going to be rolling those 2 dice. I'm going to go on and use 3 of my my brawn to add 3 additional dice. So I'm going to be rolling a total of 5 dice.
Whew.
I'm going to hold some points back. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, it looks like I have 1 success out of all of those 5. So I'm going to bump that 4 that I have up to a 5. So that's 2 successes. And then I'm going to spend a point to re-roll these 3. Okay, I got a total of 3 successes.
3 successes targeting brawn. And you slash out at it. And you do cut. And parts of its uniforms fall away. But it seems to just continue and levels its gun at you.
No.
So, next round of initiative.
Do I get my card back now? Do I just pick one?
Yes, yeah. You actually get to hang on to your card.
Oh, okay. Perfect. Sweet.
Yeah. Initiative, you're just revealing cards. You don't actually give them away on this. I mean, the moment you put it down, you can pick it right back up.
Excellent.
All right. So, starting off this round.
Was I at the end of? I was at the end of
Yes.
that. Okay, then I'm going to choose. I'm going to choose George in all of that bravery, just walking up and taking a shot. Yeah, George.
And that said, for 2 players that have never played this before, as initiative starts over, you cannot start choose yourself. At least I believe that is in the book, correct?
Mm-hmm. So George is going.
Yes.
My brain is trying to work the system here a little bit.
Okay.
But rather, see, I'm trying to use my better stat, so I'm trying to do something that would be more smarts or guts rather than straight up brawn, is what I'm trying to do. So I'm thinking something like, is there stuff around us? Like buildings, like...
Yes. And I do it's a topic that I haven't touched on really, but I do believe that just as the NPCs can kind of gang up, can players gang up?
Absolutely. Yeah. If you say, let's say all 3 of you, or just say like, shoot that one, then you all can focus fire, and that's called a challenge.
Mm-hmm. Then what George would like to do is look for something around we can impale this thing on, and he wants to shout to the others, like, everybody, like, shove it onto that thing. Like a pipe, like a wall, just impale the thing, something sharp.
Okay.
And then he's going to shout to the others, like, push it onto that pipe or whatever. That's what he's going to do, if I can.
All right. And the way this works is your dice pools are going to come together.
Correct. So you would just say, you would tell us what we need to roll, or are we going to try to build our best melee? Are we going to try to build our best, whatever role we want to do? And sometimes you can say, hey, you can use investigation, or you can use this, but you all just build the best individual thing, and then you add your successes together.
I like this idea. And so using the battlefield against it, why not? Let's go with the smarts. And who wants to team up?
Smarts is one of his best ones, so that's 4.
Well,
I have 5 smarts.
Yes.
There we
And
go.
what skill are we tying that to, John?
Let's see. As far as skills with smarts, because it does have to be knowledge would probably work well.
Yeah.
And I have a die in knowledge.
I have 2 die in knowledge, man. We're doing great. This is a good choice. So didn't we roll? So because I have smarts and knowledge, I don't need to spend a pip to get into it.
No, you do not.
Right.
I can just hypothetically roll all 6.
So if you have you have the knowledge skill, and how many dice do you initially have in knowledge?
2.
Then you automatically start with 2 dice.
Okay.
And then what's your smarts?
4.
Yep, you can roll 6 dice. You can straight up roll 6 dice.
I can roll 5.
Yeah.
We're doing great.
This is
my 1 die.
man.
I got a success. I got 1 success.
I'm going to use the spinner, and I'm not using that first spinner. So 1, 2, 3.
So I got a reroll in the chat. Can I just reroll some of
Yes.
my dice, John, or do I need to roll all of them?
You can
You
actually
can
use it. Sorry about that. For the reroll that Chad is given, we're going to use it as in the +1 system where you can select the dice. You can select however many dice that
Fantastic.
you can roll.
That didn't change anything. That's cool. So I got 2.
All
I
right.
rolled 2 6s, so that's 2 successes for me.
2 6.
All right.
1 and 1.
And all right. So overall, I would have been looking for a target number of 4. So I'm going to say that you pick him up and are impaling him together. In this almost think World War II, where they're raising the flag on Iwo Jima. Y'all are picking up this guy and impaling him onto this pole coming out of the ground as a group and sliding it down. And I will go ahead and say for your 2 extra numbers that you rolled, I will give you 1 more point of damage as you are sliding him down. And you watch as guts, viscera, and his heart itself pulls out of his chest on the end of the staff that you are slamming his body down onto.
Fantastic. Did we kill it?
It is quite dead.
Excellent.
So now what the hell was that?
I have no idea. I have no idea, George. That was insane.
It sticks with you a little bit because the thing is that just yesterday, you remember somebody's shouting charge and running across the battlefield with these figures next to you. And even though as you charged into a trench where there was a German line, the fact that they were there beside you fighting, even though now you're thinking of how vicious they were with the German soldiers that they attacked. Were they this way before? You look around the battlefield and now see the rest of the soldiers that have joined you that were part of this group that this British officer had tapped on the shoulder and basically pulled out of these trenches. Some of them look over at the officer and kind of shrug and lazily, almost as if zombies themselves, start marching back towards the trenches. Some seem to be in a daze and just wandering off. And then there is a group still standing with you, with the British officer on the ground in front of you. The rest of these disfigured have already been taken down. So what are y'all going to do?
To
So
check the. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I was going to say, so our officer, we just actually impaled him on a spike.
You impaled. So essentially, the disfigured. He was talking, and the disfigured, who was part of your group, who had walked up this hill with you, stabbed him through the back of the skull.
Oh, okay.
And then, so he fell to the ground dead, and then it became obvious. Now that the kind of haze and dust and fog of the battlefield was not there to hide these guys anymore, that there were several of these things in your number.
Okay.
I would like to search the officer, if I can, see if he had any orders or anything on him that would tell us why the hell he pulled us out of these trenches.
I will stand guard, watching with a cautious eye at everyone who is either just wandering off into the mist or going back to the trenches.
The officer, you begin sorting through the officer's belongings, and looking through it, you discover a mission briefing, as well as photos of courier dressed in the military uniform of the Ottoman Empire. If you start reading through the briefing, is somebody going to do that?
I'll hand it to somebody. I'll get it and hand it to somebody.
I'll read. I got them good words.
The orders make it clear that the captain was to gather a small contingent of soldiers from a battlefield near the Marne River, battle-hardened and experienced with human and inhuman foes, and willing to face death in order to take on a mission at hand. The officer that you see in the picture, you turn it over and you see a name written on the back of Ismet Pasha. The uh, the briefing explains that he is a cousin and confidant to the commander Enver Pasha, and has been seen close to the border of Switzerland in the mountains near Mulhouse, with a small contingent of what are believed to be German and Turkish soldiers. Intelligence suggests that Ismet is believed to be on a covert mission from Commander Pasha to hide tomes of great importance from forces acting against them in their homeland. And in bold letters within this mission briefing, it reads, "Make haste and keep these orders secret. This could turn the war effort in our favor. Go quickly and use the trench trains." That said, I'm going to do something that we usually keep. If you played this game before, near the beginning of a game, you do a thing that's called a journey. And I want to say that we're going to do a journey drawing here, if everybody's prepared.
Yep.
So
Yeah.
the way this is done is that you currently have a hand. Oh, I need to do something here in just 1 second. All of you are also going to get one card for defeating a disfigured. But what I'm going to ask you is you're going to need to present 3 out of the 4 suits. And I will explain what I'm looking for here in a moment. But the thing is that so there are 3 suits within this game. Obviously, suits for cards. We have spades, clubs, diamonds, hearts. I'm looking for you to present 3 out of those 4 suits. You cannot talk with your other players about what it is that you're going to play. That it is a secret. You're going to place it out on the table. You're going to flip it over. We're going to see where we are. If we don't have the 3 out of 4, there will be a penalty in the upcoming scenes. Does this make sense so far?
Sounds terrible. Yeah.
Yeah. But what I'm going to say is this, and that is while you're searching this fallen officer, there are things that remind you of home and his homeland and your own story. And so I'm going to let you kind of introduce your character a little bit based on what you present. Now, each one of these suits in this game represents something. So let me find that page here really quick. But essentially, your cards represent different things. And maybe before I get to it, Matt, you can help with that. The 4 suits, each one represents.
So spades is knowledge, so learning, growth, and overcoming suffering. Clubs is things, overcoming obstacles, action, and adventure. Hearts is relationships, emotion, and connection. Diamonds is self, ambition, or hopes.
All right. So I'm going to pass out 1 card really quick to each of you. And so that'll actually be able to add into your hand before we do this journey. And then I will ask you to put 1 card out. We will flip them. Well, I will move them around the board. I will try to return a card to each place where y'all set one. So if you want to, pick a location where you're going to play your cards, that'd be great. But other than that, I will move them around, and then you'll flip the card. So yeah, based on what we flip, we'll go from there. Does everybody have understand this to some extent? Basically, Journey is a great way to add some backstory, some depth, and some information about your character, and it can be a little bit of an improv gaming moment.
So is the intent to be whatever card we flip over, we deal with something related to that.
Yes, it's a memory. It's a part of who you are. So whatever suit you have there, whatever suit you end up with after I rotate them, but you're all getting a free car first. So let me do that really quick.
Sure.
So there we go. That's a card from everybody. Let's go ahead and have a look through your hand. Put 1 card out, and I will rotate them around the board. I will place them in front of different people, essentially shuffling them. And from there, yeah, we'll see how you add to the story with your journey card.
I'll put George's stuff at the top of the screen. That'll be his spot.
Generally do the bottom.
Kind of.
All right. All right, I'm gonna move them around really quick. All right, go ahead and draw your cards back up and tell me what suits y'all have got.
I got a heart.
I got a spade.
So
I
2
got
out of the 3. Hey, there we go. That is 3 of the 3 suits.
Right. So, would you all mind if I go first? Kind of show what we do.
Yeah, go for it.
So, I reveal the Jack of Clubs, and clubs are things, overcoming obstacles, an action or an adventure. So when Tedford, and this we're going through the officer's stuff, and it reminds us of home, and the officer's saber that's on his belt. I noticed that it has an engraving um, on the scabbard, and it looks as though it had been on the interior of the scabbard. He had, or the hip side of the scabbard, and he had, marked some initials and a heart, and it reminds him um, of when he had first joined the fencing club at Oxford. Um, he was gifted his first saber um, by uh, by his uh, by his mentor at the time, and they had done a very similar thing where they had done um, an inscription on the inside. General well wishes and welcome to the team, but knowing that maybe this officer was part of another club or something back home, and it just kind of strikes a chord with Tedford.
All right. So that is his portion of the journey. We'll go ahead and move that to the Discord pile. And who would like to go next?
Oh, so we're discarding these?
Yes.
Mm.
That is correct, right?
That is correct.
I will go ahead and discard mine, which is the. Oh, sorry. Yes, a 5 of spades. And it's not necessarily an object in the officer's gear that brings back a memory, but the mention of tomes, the mention of books, the idea of knowledge. Character Marvin Polinsky, also known as just Mar. Not very strong, not very gutsy. The only thing that he really ever had going for him was he was very smart. He had quick wit, and he used that to stay just ahead of everything. And when he joined the war effort, and when things started getting really bad, all he could fall back on was his knowledge. And there is something about these books that he is drawn to.
Okay. So who would like to go next?
I'll go ahead and go. So mine is a heart. Watching the officer fall reminds me of the brother that came to war with me and has already passed, and all of the other troops that have been around me, and that I don't know what's in the books, but if it was important enough that command wanted a group of people to go after this one guy for some books, and that there are weird things out there, maybe it's enough for me to push past whatever fear is coming out of this, and kind of make sure that my brother is, one of the last brothers to fall, and maybe we can keep other brothers from falling somewhere else.
All right. And we got one more to go.
I am going to use the 5 of clubs. And it's knowledge and or learning, growing, suffering. George is very small. he's a small man, and he has glasses, much like I do, and so he was bullied a lot, especially because his voice is a bit higher, and he got teased a lot, and he has suffered scars because of that, because of the bullying. He's from Boston, Massachusetts, and he has suffered scars, and so when he's kind of searching through this office stuff, he has some scars too, from whatever he got them from, and it makes him kind of remember that his own scars from one particular time he got hit against a piling on the dock one time, and so he has a kind of gash scar right here on the side of his head from that. So
And so it's with these heavy thoughts that it seems like the group altogether, I guess, decides that it's probably in your best interest to take up this mission. So
Absolutely.
the orders mention something though, using the trains, the trench trains in specific. So just to change the pacing a little bit and to toss this out there and let us leave a little bit of the darkness. It's still there in the back of our minds that we've just discussed, but going into a little bit of a different zone. Who here knows what trench trains are?
I do
There's trains and a
I-
train.
I do not, as I have next to no smarts and next to no knowledge.
not.
Would my character, being involved with more of like the logistics and transportation, not really a
Absolutely.
fighter?
Oh, yes.
Okay. What are the trench trains?
So trench trains, this is actually a fun little fact that does not make it into a lot of the World War One media that we get to watch ourselves. And so trench trains, the due to shelling, due to destruction to protect the interior of different countries, a lot of the train system was destroyed right there in World War One, especially early on. And several companies were like, well, we need to get battlefield munitions and people out quick. So they started devising tiny trains. I'm not even joking. They were called the light railways. And on average, you would find that they were the gauges never matched. By the way, the American gauge was 5.5 feet wide on the wheel, so you could not lay down across this. A soldier could not. But by the time of 1917, and like I said, this is something we don't really talk about, there were over 20,000 miles of trench train, these steam locomotives that were itty bitty running all over the backside of France. And they would carry up to 6,000 tons of munitions and people a day. And yet we never see it in movies.
It's like the
That's
little
pretty cool.
Yeah,
Brigade
there's a
runs
great
the-
little example of it in they what was it, They Shall Not Grow Old, the Peter Jackson documentary. It's pretty cool to see. And it looks like those little trains that you might see at like the zoo or an amusement park, and you're like, what?
Exactly. Like the ones the kids ride, not like the ones going
Yeah.
around Disneyland.
Completely out of place.
Wow.
So
Neat.
that said, your company, those of you who are left, and I'm going to say outside of your number that are here on screen, there are 18 now left of who was tapped by the captain. And you start making your way further into the countryside. A lot of landside here is destroyed. You are north of, or I believe you should be north of the Marne River, in what is just the hell zone of World War One. Trenches everywhere, destroyed landside, and battle lines here are not secured. They move so much daily sometimes. and you begin marching southward. And you go for about 7 miles on this hard march with your pack before you arrive at an ammo depot where there is, thankfully, several lines of trench trains.
Hmm. Are they still functional?
They are, and this actually looks to be operational.
Are the trench trains literally in the trenches?
They were small enough that they could actually go through the trenches, and if they were destroyed, be quickly replaced. Hence why the name goes. But you are currently to be several miles, you believe, south of an area known as Mont Blanc at this ammo dump. Between the influx of artillery going north and bodies now traveling south on other trench trains, your company finds a train that will be carrying supplies and running east uh, towards the secured front line and terminating far before it could reach Switzerland. But that said, what are y'all going to be doing?
I look at Mar. Well, wait, does there appear to be an actual driver for this one that we found to be operational, or are we kind of looking around and trying to be discreet without having to explain ourselves to somebody?
Well, seeing as I believe y'all are a group of privates right now with orders, what are y'all doing? This I leave up to you.
Hmm.
Look
me-
at Mar and say, "Mate,
Hmm?
can you drive
Yeah.
this?"
I could certainly try. Kind of more used to carriages and wagons, but it's just a steam instead of horses, I guess. And I'm gonna go take a look at it, and I do have 1 skill point in transport, so
All right.
I'm going to. May I attempt to use my transport skill with my 2 guts to try to get it running?
Sure. Let's go ahead and make that roll.
Further. All
Nobody
right.
seems to be paying you any attention currently. After all, y'all are privates at an ammo dump.
I'll try to use my frame and kind of like stand in front and just be like, so while he's like pulling levers and stuff, I'm like,
Uh,
wait, do something
I
legal.
I am going to. I am stressed out. I only got 1 success. I am going to burn a card, um, and just frantically, feverishly try to get this thing going and try to think how to make it work to bump up my 4 to a 5 for 2 successes, if that's all right.
Sounds great. So you got that first success, and you could hear it as the wheels wanted to turn, and steam started to escape down where the drivetrain was. And you're like, you reach down with your left hand and quickly throw the brake. And with a lurch, the train begins moving forward. Uh, and it's picking up pace pretty quickly. I guess everybody's going to try and hop on.
Yep. Just whistle and circle up.
Yeah, I definitely hop on. I give Mar a good pat on the back.
Just sort of skittishly, just kind of yeah.
George grabs his hat and he's like, ah.
The 4 of you hop on there on the front, and the rest of this company kind of this runs up and starts hopping on top of it. This train is carrying munitions, so some of you might even have to be straddling, large shells. Like we're talking bigger at that point than the howitzer.
I
May I procure one of them?
Oh, you can definitely try, but these are howitzer shells. These
Oh,
are bigger around in your arm.
ah, okay. Well, I guess could I spend some time searching down the line for
Oh, hey,
something?
there you go.
Yeah. Oh, Jesus.
yeah, and this is a
Actually,
small one, Charlie.
could I look for one about that size?
Yeah, absolutely. You got investigation?
Uh, uh, I could technically roll 1 dice for investigation by spending 1 guts, and yeah, I'm just gonna roll 1 to see if I find anything.
Absolutely.
But
Let's
you
get it
do
in there.
Nope.
draw a card as Bink 26 allowed you to.
Oh,
Oh,
Matt, can you actually keep up on that with us? Because you probably are in the chat, right? So you're actually seeing stuff.
Yeah, yeah. Am I allowed to toss cards out there? I can do that. I'm fine with doing that.
1 per character.
Is it 1 per character?
Yeah, if you want to give extra cards, 1 per character.
so
Because Matt
and
has channel points.
yes, and thank
There
you.
we
Nice.
I've got channel points galore. You guys have no idea.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, but I did make I made buying this more expensive than dice rolls. So
Oh yeah, no, absolutely.
Yes. So unfortunately, no successes in trying to find at least anything small enough to throw in my backpack.
yeah, it was a hard thing to do. I mean, you're basically looking over your shoulder as this thing is lurching forward and looking down the line as soldiers are clamoring on and moving about, trying to get comfortable for what might be a very long trip.
While we're driving, Tedford's gonna kind of, shimmy his way down, and any of our company that are either hanging on or look unsafe, I might try to hoist them up, and just again, because we don't know how long this is gonna be, or how bumpy it's gonna be, or whatever. So I'm gonna just try to at least help them up.
Hmm.
A wiry clerk, as you are leaving the station and about to end, he's running alongside of you on a makeshift pallet-based walkway. He's like, "Hey, hey, what are you doing? Where are you going? What's going on?"
I just make the train go faster.
I
I just put my hand up. I can't. What? What? What?
Where
What?
where is your officer?
kind of want to grab him and like pull him off the train. Be like, "What were you saying?" But I won't.
Eyes kind of go wide, but are you trying to maybe intimidate him a little bit or anything, or?
Uh, do. Whew.
Uh, could I use my smarts and make a communication check to just I don't know, say say something that sounds official.
Well, that and also your background working in transportation, you might know some terms that are going to make his head spin. So yeah, I
Ye-
will say I will say with a target number of 2.
Got it. Go ahead
Excellent.
and roll. Gonna go ahead and roll 3, saving 1 to the side for rerolls. Gonna reroll these 2. Ah! And I'm gonna burn a card
Oh no.
to bump it up by 1 for 2 success. Oh, wait, no. Oh, I can't do that. That's never mind. I got 1 success.
Ooh.
Well, can George do something? Because I mean, if he sees everybody's trying to like sky off his back, he's going to do the same thing. He has communications as well. He's actually a communications
Oh.
officer.
I will
That's what he.
I will say yes, you may.
Okay.
But I am going to require 3 on the target number. I'm bumping it up because he's kind of doubting whatever's going on now.
Okay. All right. Cool. So he's got, what would this be? Guts or smarts?
And
Smarts.
tying it to a skill, anybody has a recommendation on that? Maybe knowledge?
Knowledge
Yeah.
or communication makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah, knowledge or communication, I would say.
He has 1 in either one, so it doesn't matter. So
Yeah, that's good.
I'll take 4 die, I guess, and leave 1 to the side. That makes sense.
Yeah, that's good.
All right, and I'm not using that first spinner, so I'll take 1, 2, 3,
Oh
So I got 1, 2, 1. Come on. Ugh. All right. So I guess I'm using my reroll.
Yes.
So I reroll just one of them.
No,
You roll
you roll.
all.
If you want, you can
Oh,
roll
okay.
as many as you want.
All right.
There you
There
go.
we go.
Okay, maybe. There's
All
2.
right.
No.
2.
He is just not really buying it. He starts to slow down. So I'm wondering if Tedford, you said you were going to try and grab him and drag him on.
Yeah, if he's starting to slow down, I don't necessarily want I don't want anything to um deter us from this mission. So which being pursued as thieves of military materiel would definitely be a problem. Tedford's going to try to just grab him and pull him up on the train as
Can
he's
we-
slowing down.
Can I assist him with that?
Yeah, if you really want to. I mean, target number, the guy's a clerk. And like I said, he's wiry. So I'm only looking for 1 on that.
Meanwhile, George was going, sorry, sir, we had orders. And okay, this isn't working.
I'll assist if that works, Brandon.
Yeah. So I don't have athletics, which I would assume this is what it would be, but I do have brawn. So I'm going to spend a point to buy access to the skill and another point to buy access to the die.
Same.
And then I'm going to buy a couple extra dice.
That's all of my points of brawn.
Okay, I got 1 success.
I got 1 success.
Great.
There you go. Together, you yank this guy up off the pallet runway next to you and onto the train. Now, the max speed of this train is about 5.5 miles per hour.
Yeah, nothing great.
It's a steady jog, which asking anyone in a pack to do is for what could be days is a lot to ask. So it is very, very useful, but it is not terribly fast.
I pat the guy on the back and say, "Hey, thanks for offering to come along. We really appreciate the help."
Yeah.
He's in too much shock even to yell for help.
He's going to yell for help?
He's in too much shock even for that at this point. He's just like,
Okay.
what's going on? I'm not in your company.
Well, I mean, I would assume that you're in charge of all of this stuff, right? We would hate for you to lose track of any of it.
Yeah, let's go ahead and you want to try and get a roll in on that one?
Yeah, sure.
Let's go ahead and communications at this point.
I can roll 1 die.
He will not question for the next hour or so with at least 1.
I most certainly did not relay that. So, as I say that, I can only assume the look of complete disbelief on his face is stunning.
Yeah, and I'm gonna see if anybody on base cares.
If anybody cares.
Yeah, some people start to run your direction, but after a little ways, after a good 50 yards or so, they cannot keep up. But at this point, he's just like, "Just let me off, toss me off, let me go."
Are you sure?
So I will look at him and I'll say, "Listen, it's really important that we get these books. Pasha's got them. We're headed to him. So I just, more the merrier. I'm glad you're here. He's not armed, is he? I'm sure that we can find an extra handgun for you. But don't worry about this. It'll be okay. The mission's important."
He looks at you and he's like, "Pasha?
Yeah.
Enver's Pasha?" And he looks at all of you. You're mad. Are
So-
you going ready to train all the way to the Ottoman Empire? And he just stands up and jumps off of it.
Tuck and roll.
Well, bye.
These things happen.
Yeah. Yep.
Well, hopefully he doesn't send others after us. And again, we don't know where the end of these rails are or in what condition they are further up.
Very true. But for the moment, you do find yourself laying or straddling across large artillery shells that kind of line the open train cars. And you're headed into the dark French countryside. At this point, you're going into your first evening. And it's over the course of days that you travel winding tracks through abandoned battlefields and villages, exposed to the cold of night without campfire and rain without shelter. And it is over the course of those days, with the cries of suffering and whatever lurks out in the darkness, that you now have time to think and reflect. So that said, we're going to go ahead and do our next pull.
Okay.
We're going to do
So,
a.
why is there still a card out? Did everybody grab their cards?
Charlie, did you grab your card?
Charlie, you're muted. And
I don't see cards out.
Got it. Yes, I
right,
forgot to
good.
drag that one in. So
So that said,
so when you say do a pull, does that mean we all
We're-
get a card?
actually going to be doing a journey. And
Okay.
over so people, this I'm looking for is going to be, I want you to present me with 2 hearts.
2 hearts.
And yes, so between the 4 of you, each one of you will place a card. I will move them around, but overall, we are looking for 2 hearts grand total. And with this journey and with the memories that are coming up, I want to say that people are very complex and they have many reasons for what they do and why characters go to war. So I want to know with this journey card, as you're traveling on this train through darkness and rain, what comes to mind?
Mm. I'll take the dove here.
All right, I'm going to move them around here. All right, go ahead and take your cards back and tell me what it is we
Discard
got.
those, right?
Yes.
We discard those?
Yes, you'll end up discarding them.
Yeah, you'll discard them. Yeah, when you reveal
I pulled a 10 of hearts.
I got a 2 of clubs.
Yeah, we couldn't hear you on that. What was that again?
I said I pulled a 9 of diamonds.
Charlie, you
What
got
did
a
you
heart?
pull, Charlie?
not a heart. I pulled a 9 of clubs.
Dang.
Right. Well, we did not get our 2 hearts, but we still have to narrate our stuff.
I feel like at this point, if we were playing Battlestar Galactica, I'd be booting somebody out an airlock as a Cylon.
Okay. Well, there is no airlock, but there is a story. So, who wants to go first? Why are you here? Why did you go to war? And if you can tie it to your suits, please. That's where the difficult part comes in sometimes.
So
Yeah, this is the one I got. So I'll just put that out there.
so Tedford, he really he came to the war. I mean, just like most of the able-bodied young men in England at the time, who but not necessarily as a sense of honor or duty, even though there was that there was a little bit of that, but mostly it was as a way to earn the approval of my industrialist father. Again, it's why most of the things that he has done in his life was to earn the approval of his father, but his older brother was always the favorite. He was, worked in the offices and all of that. So it was really to get the attention and approval of his father, especially after his older brother was at the Battle of the Somme and was killed in the incident that that was widely reported, in which effectively thinned the veil. Da 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 da. But it was at the Battle of the Somme, that was where his older brother was killed, and that's why I joined up and why I'm here. It still stings every time I try to help someone and fail. I'm always reminded of my brother.
Okay. So who'd like to go next?
I'll go next. I will. My father served in the Spanish American War, and then built a ranch in like western Iowa to raise cattle, and we've spent years there, and my brother and I stayed on long past the time we were adults. And when the war broke out, we felt like it was our duty to kind of stop the reach of the German war machine and to stop the atrocities, especially like the gas. The gas attacks were terrible, and just knowing that there were people out there being hurt. I wasn't a doctor by any means, but I'd worked on cows and other animals enough that I signed up as a medic, um, kind of illegally, by going to Canada and signing up there. So technically, I'm with the Canadian forces, but I'm very American. Um, and I just felt like it was like the knowing that there were people out there that were being hurt was just something I couldn't handle. But knowing that took my brother from me, um, that's that's a little harder too. But it's got to mean something in the end. If this game makes me cry, John, I'm gonna be really sad. This is my own storytelling. You're not even doing it this time.
This is, I will say, this is a deep game, and if you get into the fiction, I mean, World War One's. I'm gonna be cry more fast than I usually am. No, not really. World War One sucked balls, and it's heavy. But I will try to balance things out with some silliness ever so often. So, that said, who would like to go next?
Oh, okay. So as George is, the night is there and he's looking up at the stars and he kind of hears voices in his head of himself and another young man. Voices saying, but we said we were going to go to school together. Like, and now you're going to go off and you may not come back. Like, why are you? And you can kind of hear like docks and like the sound of water like in the background and stuff. And he's saying, well, I have to. It's our country. We got to go into the fight. He says, that's ridiculous. That's not our fight. We were supposed to go to school. We were supposed to study. You're 18 years old. He's like, don't go. You got to come to school with me. And then there's just kind of silence, and then like steps like walking away, and then he thinks about how about a week later he went and hoping to find the young man there at some point out in the field somewhere.
Right.
Well, Bar does not want to be here at all. This was it was either stay back at his home, which he does not talk about, will not talk about, or do a little bit of time, something with a little, something that was advertised as not too dangerous, keep his head down, and get out, and then go wherever he wants from there. And unfortunately, he knew that wasn't going to be the case. The night that he saw, as he remembers it, a flash of light and a rumble in the air. And now he has just been trying to stay one step ahead. And now it's not about living after this, but living on a day to day basis. And he does not like it.
All right. So as these thoughts creep into your mind, day breaks the next day. And with the sun comes a little bit of, calmness, a little clarity. But this is mind numbing. In fact, this is the first time you think that you have sat still longer than a few hours. Since you have been at war, since you have been in the trenches, you have not stopped moving. You've not stopped listening. And out here, there's not much to listen to. You hear nature again, which is something that you almost missed. The sound of crickets, the sound of, the birds, the sound of wind, and that wind is not carrying any sort of gas towards you. But night still is coming, and the train starts to head back towards the north. And you know that going north means that you're headed back into battle. It's on that night that you begin to, and this is basically where we get into our penalty. The the train has moved different speeds, different paces over time, and different grades. Now, one of the things that you might not know is that the Marne is a plateau. It is right on the edge of a plateau, and several times you have had steeper grade or you have gone down. Uh, but this time you are beginning to descend. And at first it is controlled and you are all at the front and you're like, okay. But then as more and more carts come along and basically join in the slope going down the grade, it starts to pick up pace.
Oh
And
no.
this doesn't feel normal. There's something very off about it. And you can even hear the tension in the wheels. And, the sound of the train is deafening around you, though, and this is nighttime. How are y'all gonna react?
And this is, you being at nighttime, are we under any significant moonlight or are we just barreling down
You're
this grade
you're
in?
barely in the darkness, there's not much light out here.
Okay.
Uh, I know what's up, and I'm gonna start quickly scurrying back up to the front engine and asking anybody along to like bring a light, bring a light. There's something wrong. There's something wrong, and I'm scrambling around looking for tools to do what I have to do.
Oh,
I'll go to help out, but I definitely don't have a light. Uh, but Mar, I'm with you. I'm with you. Anyone along the way, I ask if they have a torch.
right. Somebody passes you one, it's the standard large, thin chrome handle, large light at the end of it.
I'll meander on up there and help out in any way I can.
Alright. The train lurches ever so often, and you hear calls from different members of your company. And I'm going to say at some point, you shine your light back towards them, just checking, making sure nobody falls off. This
Absolutely, yeah.
the train is no longer just going 5.5 miles per hour. I would say you're getting up near the 8 to 9 mile per hour range. And this doesn't feel normal, like I said before. And you shine your light back, checking on them, and you see a swarm. It is
Swore.
It is a writhing mass of bodies at the back end of this train, slowly making its way up. When you illuminate it, now other soldiers see it. These bodies are probably foot or two in height, a very mistaken flesh tone to them, uh, humanoid-like teeth, uh, and a part of your mind thinks of stories that you've heard that from other people in the war. Definitely, your transportation officer. You've heard of people talking about gremlins, and they
They
begin
get in your
clamoring
stuff.
to recruit.
Yeah.
Looking back at them now, if anybody else starts here, if all the eyes are on them, they seem to be piling in. They have somehow managed to get on and are striking some of the artillery with hammers and different metal implements. Some of them are even picking them up to chew on them, trying to figure out what they are. Obviously, they are important.
Oh, this is gonna be bad.
I'm going to turn back. I'm
What
going to
is
turn
causing
back.
this?
Oh,
I must
go
say,
ahead.
is the weight of this swarm is also helping to accelerate this train. The brake
Uh,
will work.
I'm going to turn back to Theodore and anyone else who's close by, look them dead in the eyes and say, if I do not get this to slow down, we bail. And that is it. And then I go ahead and use I do have a skill in mechanics to try to get the brakes to either work or at the very least get it back down to 5.
So, welcome into a combat we're going to call Train Ride to Hell. And we're going to
What's
go
wrong?
ahead. Yeah, no. So, we're going to be doing initiative here in just one moment. And I do want to say it was partially inspired by Indiana Jones' Temple of Doom. So, let's have some fun.
Great. Not the Bugs Bunny cartoon with the airplane.
Well, there's that too. So, let's go ahead and get some initiatives going. If everybody just wants to toss their card out there.
I'll be the 6.
We got an 8, 7.
I'm
Don't go first again.
I'm not gonna contribute a card or reveal a card for initiative because they're all terrible.
If I may go
Okay.
first.
Absolutely.
Okay, so putting my brain to use, thinking, and looking at my shovel, uh, I'm going to make the decision to and try to narrate what I'm doing as I'm frantically running around at the front engine. I'm going to cut the line between the engine and everything else, and I'm going to try to jam this in the rails to topple all the stuff behind us to at least stop. Our front will be fine, but it can probably only fit the 4 of us.
Well, there's 18 other guys we need to keep with us so that when we die, we still have characters to play.
Ah. They got legs.
Well, they might not after the cart rolls over them. Who knows? It'll be fun.
Okay, well, let's go back to at least the second cart then.
Sure.
And I'll try to cut the line there and jam my shovel to at least, if not stop all the carts behind it, topple the one so that they topple, slow, something. So at least the front 2 carts are going faster than the ones behind.
Okay, so obviously, because of what's going on, we're not dealing with a creature that you are attacking. We're dealing with an object, which falls kind of in the ballpark of what armor. And so, as far as a vehicle is concerned, armor can be pretty high. And so I'm going to say that you're looking at, if you're going to do this, you might want some help because you're looking at, I'm going to say a target number of trying to break this off. Are you trying to, well, let's put it this way. Are you trying to break it off by just bashing it? Or are you trying to be smart about it and detach it?
Smart about it, trying to pull the pin and then toss my trusty shovel under the rails to upset the ones behind.
Okay, so detaching it on a vehicle that you've never personally driven before, I'm gonna say you're looking at target number 3. But if you are trying to bash it, what I would have said is trying to bash the thing to try and release it, I would have said target number 5.
Mm,
So is this like smarts and knowledge maybe?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll assist you. Don't we got this?
Okay.
Well, let me rephrase that. I hope we got it. I'm gonna roll 6 dice.
Okay. I'm
Well,
going
here's the
to
thing.
roll.
Are y'all both going to try and is one of you trying to pull the pin, figure this out, or is one of you going to toss the shovel?
Uh, could I hand the shovel off to somebody else?
Yeah. So what would the shovel fall under skill and attribute wise?
Definitely more of the melee brawn.
Yeah,
Uh,
that's
I'll
not
shout. I'll shout to Teddy and Teddy, and toss the shovel under the rails as I'm fiddling with the pin with the.
As soon as you toss it, I turn around and catch it before it hits me in the face. But I'm
Oh my god.
sure, under the rails.
Okay. I'll roll my 3 dice for knowledge, with 1 on the side for emergencies.
All right.
Oh,
So
God.
let's go ahead and get those rolls.
1 success. I'm
I'm
How
rolling
much did you get?
for brawn. I'm gonna in his melee brawn.
Yes.
I'm gonna roll 5 dice, holding 3 points back to manipulate.
All right. And Matt, were you rolling as well to help with the pin issue?
Yeah, I will. I'll roll 4 dice and hold a couple back. I have 2 successes.
Oh,
4
Alright.
successes on the shovel part.
All right, you pull the pin as they swarm over some of your comrades in the back, and the cart disengages and goes back for maybe a couple feet, and the weight of them on the cart kind of keeps it not that far away from you. But the moment that you throw that shovel and it gets under that wheel and it kind of catches for a while there, it begins to slow down much more dramatically, and you start gaining distance out and away from them. So that said, at this point, we can go into a little bit of narration. Or Danny, is there anything that you wanted to do with this?
I was kind of holding back just in case this didn't work, so that George would be able to do something with his turn in case it didn't work. So he was basically covering with his rifle, is what he was doing while those 3 were doing that. Yeah, he was just kind of standing behind him, okay.
Why don't we
Yeah,
why
we've
don't we
got
take
cards from the audience. Ted, you've got a card, and what else? And Frank, you're also given a card.
why don't we take a break? We're about that point.
All right. Well, let's go ahead and finish out this scene really quick, and we'll go from there.
Sure.
Uh, you still have, I'm gonna say, some of your troops. They were overtaken in the swarm, and about 10 of them managed to clamber up into these 2 cars, and you are holding on tight.
Mhm.
Uh, as you hit the dip at the end of this, you know, of this shelf that you've gone down and kind of are now pulling up along the tracks, these trains weren't meant for speed, and they were known for tipping. You hit a corner, and it flies off the rails. All 4 of you and the rest of your troops fly through the air, landing with a thud. While behind you, still on the tracks uh, upon the ridge, you see the goblins suddenly are ignited by something. Something happens, and there is a flash of light, and goblins are blown up in one of the largest explosions you've ever seen. And in a ball of light, you watch as they are just thrown through the air all about, and the night plunges back into darkness. we're going to go ahead and pause there for a moment. We will
Mhm.
be taking a brief break. When we come back, we'll find out what has happened to our troops, who and where did they land. And yeah, so about a 10-minute break, everyone. Feel free to go get something to drink, hydrate, please. And we will see you back here. All right.
All right.
See y'all soon. And we are back. Thank you all so much for sticking around for Seriously Let's Play. We are playing Never Going Home again. And we still have our table here with Charles, Danny, Brandon, and Matt. Thank you all so much. And we're basically going to go ahead and dive right back into our game, which is a good way to describe it, as
Mhm.
characters had been sailing through the air.
Tuck and roll.
So that said, though, you all find yourself alive and awake with no concussion and only slightly worse for wear. Since landing was softened by the bog you now find yourself within. In the distance, you hear the sounds of the remaining gremlins now screaming in terror. Unsure what is happening, you strain your eyes, and in the fire that was left over from this explosion, you see the gremlins are now being chased and devoured by an immense shape. The shape illuminated by the light of the fire ever so often is unlike anything you have ever seen before. A creature with a body like that of a frog's, but as wide as a man is now as tall, now strides around the wreckage on two long, avian-like legs, which strides and impales the goblins with long claws before picking them up and shredding them with its teeth. It seems that it is currently distracted by the gremlins, who it is making a pretty easy meal of. Question is, do you feel you should run or fight?
As as we get to our feet and our and we get our wits about us, we see this creature attacking these goblins or stepping on these goblins or gremlins. Tedford, uh, he he looks at his companions, helps them up a little bit, and then he unbuttons his shirt sleeves and starts rolling them up, exposing his forearms, which are just covered in uh, raw scabs and scars in crazy occult shapes. And he, um, he looks at everyone and says, "Okay, I'll buy us time." And he takes out his one of his daggers and just starts etching into his arm, and blood pours out and creates a hardened shell of just scabs over his entire body.
Okay, so you're doing the whisper for that. The scab armor or whatever?
Yes. So what I'm doing is I will spend a card.
Which really quick, with the destruction of the goblins, you each got a card. So let me go ahead and pass those out to y'all.
Oh, cool. Max,
So
max hand is 7, right?
yes, and so I spent a card to activate a whisper. So Tedford has when he chose his skills, it was the whisper path of blood rights, and when I chose the whisper path, it was I was able to choose um, a certain ritual that happens, and then as you buy points in it, you get additional spells or rituals, whatever. So he had blood rights, and he chose scabs, which allows him to uh, it allows him to have an armor score according to his current brawn. So since I cut myself and did the 1 point of brawn damage, my present brawn is 5. So now I have an armor of 5.
Mars just kind of in shock with this and just kind of whispers under his breath, like, "Oh, you're one of them," and just starts gathering his stuff and like starts just looking for anything to use as a weapon.
We're all one of them now, Mar.
cryptic. And
Do we have one of do we have our weapons and stuff still on us? Like,
Absolutely.
all right. Okay. Cool.
So are you going to try and go take this thing on?
ah,
I mean, to give you a very short description of what you're seeing is imagine Baba Yaga's hut, but replace the top with the body of a frog.
ugh. I'm gonna
terrible
try
idea.
Is Tedford going
Uh,
for it? Like, is he moving?
Yeah, I'm gonna try to make a convincing argument to Tedford of like, we don't have to fight it. We just have to move. It's interested in the goblins. We get out of here.
Yeah, Tedford's just, if while you all are getting up, if he's not charging at it, if we need more time, I'm ready there to get chewed on.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. So at this point, we are going to be rolling some stealth.
Stealth run. What does stealth run off of?
Brawn.
Whoops.
We're gonna.
Yeah, brawn is brawn
Now, the good
represents anything physical, whether it's big, bulky muscles or anything agility, and then your smarts and your guts are going to reflect either your knowledge or your wits, or your guts are just your complete gusto or your mental well-being, things like that. So there's pretty much two sides to each one of these.
And with all this said, I will, because there is a great deal of confusion, there's the fire, are the goblins, which are easy food for this thing. You only need to make a target number 1.
Oh, good. I only have to roll a 5 or a 6 on one die that I have.
Yeah. Which can be bumped still by the cards that you have. And it sounds like you
So,
have quite a few.
I do. I rolled a 4, so I'm going to toss a card to make that a 5.
I have brawn of 2, so I get to roll 1 die because I have no stealth or anything. So I'm in the same situation as Frank.
Yeah.
Let's see. Do I want to? All right, I'm going to take a chance on you, number 1 spinner. Don't let me down. Ah!
Now, I don't think I explained this. You can spend more than just 1 card.
Yes.
Okay.
Hey, and John, one thing that I like to do. This is personally whenever I burn a card for an augment, and this is in the text of the book. Whenever I burn a card for an augment in a case like that, because your cards represent your humanity, I always like to narrate what my character is forgetting, what my character loses in that trade-off in order to gain that extra power from the void. Yeah, it really makes this get real depressing real fast when you start burning cards. Oh, that's cool. I forgot my my little sister's 2nd birthday. That's cool.
Yeah.
So I did want to at one time, become a veterinarian, and my dad would have been happy to send me off, and I do really well with the horses and stuff, but I'm not sure that it matters much anymore because I got rid of a ambition or a hope. So really, it's Brandon's fault if I cry during the game. That's what we've.
We'll just blame Brandon.
Yeah.
It's fine.
Sorry, guys.
Yeah.
I had a 3. If I don't want to be the jackoid who messes everything up and trips over a branch or some crap, I guess I have to burn some card. George is back there oh, sorry guys, grabbed on something. Big frog thing turns and looks at that's right now to do that. So I gotta burn 2 cards. George forgets all about the first time that he went to a baseball Red Sox game with his father.
Oh.
Ouch. Yeah.
That's good.
And
Got me Got any Red Sox fans here?
Not anymore.
He
No?
forgets
Well, I
about
was gonna say he ain't missing much. Ah.
and he forgets all about the first time he read Lord of the Rings.
Well, it's good because it hasn't been written yet.
Something similar then.
Like, so would you like-
Did the Martian Chronicles come out by then?
This is World War One, so it's like 19 something like that.
Yeah, we're still
Frankenstein, maybe.
great.
There you go.
We got 2 successes.
2 successes. All
I
right.
got 2 successes because I actually put 2 points in stealth.
Ooh,
So,
yeah, smart.
I am sneaky.
Which
Right.
really is a great way to build a little bit more knowledge with your character base for what lies ahead. Because ultimately, now you're leaving this bog and you are getting away. Thankfully, it's not going to be able to track you. But that said, you're now going to be traveling north towards a mountain range, small mountain range known as, I believe it's the Vosges or something along those lines. Does anybody know the name of the? It's the Southern Alps mountain range, but it's a Vosges.
I do not know the pronunciation, but all right.
In this area of the battlefield, and this is true at that time period, the French army and German imperial forces are just scattered. This is a set uh, battlefield. Like the lines for the most part are set and have not moved in quite some time since basically the battlefront had moved north and then been pushed south by the introduction of German special forces. So it has been secure now for over a year. The battle line has not moved, but at the same time, it is much less guarded because nobody really wants to really worry. It's nice to have that hard cutoff point to the east of here with with Switzerland. Nobody really tries to go out this far as much anymore. The main battlefield was really where you were coming from, and so we call it a set battlefield, but there's not really any movement out here. Uh, Troops don't really guard as well. Sometimes they're not even certain where the border begins or ends. There are lines, trenches with barbed wire on both sides that nobody is certain, is this behind or in front of enemy lines? And you travel through this several times. Sometimes you see enemies in the distance, or maybe they're your allies. You're not really certain, but really all it is an obstacle for you on your way to continue.
Mm.
But that said, one last journey before we arrive.
Yay.
Before we do that, John, I'm going to burn
Yes.
a card outside of combat to heal the 1 point of brawn that I took. So I just wanted to let you all know that's what's going on the other screen.
Awesome.
And it is a 3 of clubs. The Tedford forgets the he forgets the sound of when he first did an internship in his father's factory and was doing like the accounting, all the adding machines and the mechanical sounds. They just fade from his memory.
All right. So you've evaded this creature, and even in leaving, and it was the wise thing to do, the smart thing to do. You have the sounds still in your mind, the sounds of its movement, the sounds of the gremlins screaming in the dark. There's no light other than just where that creature was, and you just have to hope that you moved north. So I want you the test or the cards I'm looking for this journey is I'm looking for 2 clubs, and I want to know what is something that you have heard since you've been at war, something that sticks with you, something that maybe terrifies you. I'm gonna shuffle them around here really quick. All right, there y'all go.
So
There
my
we go.
brother
We got
didn't just. Yeah. Oh, did we? Oh, we got our. Never mind. Go ahead.
So who got the 4 hearts?
That's me. So my brother didn't just die. I watched him. His something was wrong with his gas mask. I think it took some shrapnel at some point, and when he put it on, when the gas fell, he put it on, and I watched him essentially suffocate to death in the most agonizing way possible. And that, still to this day, the sounds of canisters hitting around causes me to grab a mask. Even if somebody knocks a empty can of beans over, sometimes that'll do it. Just leaving me terrified of the loss of my breath.
right. Next.
I got the 3 of diamonds, and one sound that still sticks with me. I'm sort of used to shelling. Shelling doesn't bother me as much anymore because in the back of my mind, I still remember the sound of. Uh, Everybody has a word for it, but I always call it just the light and the roar, the biggest explosion, and I still remember that. And whenever I hear an artillery shell, it doesn't register to me anymore because I just hear that sound instead.
I got the 8 of clubs. That's a thing or an obstacle that's been overcome. So in relation to something that I'm always afraid of, um, so in my first encounter with um, my first encounter with the whispers, when I first started manifesting these and hearing the voices telling me uh, what to cut in order to activate or get some of this power. It was a challenge. I mean, I had always been around swords and stuff for fencing, but it was always difficult to to take that first step. And even today, even though I've been doing this for a while, I've been hearing these voices ever since the veil was torn. Whenever I make that cut, it always leaves a sour taste in my mouth. It's almost like that. Like the metallic taste of blood when you bite your lip or something like that, and it turns my stomach and makes me sick, but I understand that it's a necessity.
All right. And so,
I guess it's my turn.
yes.
I had the ace of clubs. And soon after George got to the front line, they were pinned down in a trench that had been occupied by some soldiers already. And when they dove into the trench under heavy fire, pinned down, George was next to a man whose legs had been blown off by something. He wasn't even sure, but the soldier wasn't dead. And they were pinned down for hours under enemy fire. And so for hours, George sat there and listened to this man basically die next to him while they were pinned down and the fire was going over the trench until he finally bled out or died. And George hasn't forgotten that.
And these are the thoughts that kind of are there and drift as you're traveling. And there's a certain loneliness also, even though you are with what few troops are left that you started with, and obviously your core group here. It's just an empty world, it feels like. But you begin your path into the mountains and beyond the battlefield. I mean, there are still obviously signs of whatever's going wrong out here. But the further you get into the mountains, it's almost like you're taking a step back in time. There are no signs of shelling. There are no trenches. And occasionally you'll see villages, but they look like they are long since abandoned and probably not the target that you are looking for. But finally, you find a village. And smoke rises from a single home. And it's in the evening. The village is nestled in a valley in these mountains. And you do feel as if you have stepped out of history, and this village looks like something that's been spared conflict for centuries. It almost has a pre-Renaissance style to the buildings and a lack of any, from this vantage point, of really any damage. But you can make out enemy forces moving about in this small hamlet. As far as you can tell, still human, but the uniforms. These are largely German specialists. And you're no stranger yourselves to the appearance of the Sturmmann. These are vicious soldiers, trained in running across battlefields as artillery falls around them and charging into your trenches to open fire with the latest German automatic rifles, wearing a thick body armor that offers some protection. If there is ever a chance for either side to settle a score or for any of you to get some revenge and maybe even save lives further down the road, this would be it. But aside from this group, there also appears to be a small contingency of Turkish army staying at one of the homes. We'll say about 5 of them. At this point, you have a few things going for you. The element of surprise, and that the forces here seem relaxed and oblivious to threat. Now to decide, how do you want to do this? And how to get to the officer, likely in the one active building, before these forces offer cover and he flees. And what you need is a plan. So that's
we get smart people here.
George has communications and smarts and got pretty good, and so does Merv. So
you all are sharp. You're the ones who have all this tactical knowledge. I do not.
I also got pretty good at stealth. I could sneak in.
By yourself,
though? Unless anybody else is sneaky.
I have stealth, but I don't have any dice in it, relying solely on my natural talent.
A few soldiers are going to offer also to go if you do stealth. And I will roll a d6 and we'll see how many volunteer.
All right.
3 out of the 10. You'll be able to keep up with you.
If they're going to do that, then it should be up to us. We can draw some of those soldiers away that are around the building so they have less to deal with if they're going to sneak in to try to get to the...
Charlie,
we can make ourselves sound like there's more of us than there. That would be so than there are. That's simple.
Charlie, did you ever manage to pick up one of those artillery shells? I don't remember.
I was looking for a smaller one, but instead I just got a big one. So there's that.
That sounds like a distraction right there.
We could set off the
Uh,
artillery.
But the question then becomes, how do we set it off without being too close to it?
George gets to his rifle. He holds up his rifle. Plan it and shoot it.
If it works, it works. Wait, you said this is on the side of a mountain, right?
It's in the valley. So, I mean, however you want to phrase it with that, but yes.
Okay, well, I prefer not to kill too many people, and also landslides are kind of difficult to create.
But we
Well,
also have the high ground
Mm-hmm.
if they're going to come at us. You're talking rolling logs down the hill to take them out. You're talking, all that sort of stuff that we could do.
Okay. Do we have to capture this guy, or can we just get rid of him? Because we could run down there, get the shell in place, somebody shoots it, blows up the building, not too many people get hurt, and otherwise we use the shell as a distraction.
I say we take him out. I've seen too many soldiers taken out by these people.
It's still night, or dark at least.
1 second. I love this, using some dice to figure that out. And we're going to say that it is afternoon.
Okay. We could wait till evening to run up to it, plant the shell, and somebody takes the shot at it.
Are there any vehicles in the town?
You do see that there is a hay cart at one of the buildings, and you're going to also see an equivalent of a lorry. It's a transport vehicle, much more meant for usually livestock and such. But it could carry maybe 8 men at a time. It looks like there's about 2 of those.
Is there any way? Does the hay cart have hay in it?
Yes, it does.
You think there's any way we could set that hay cart on fire?
And be done.
There's always a way.
Yeah, somebody's got a lighter.
People are going to head that way, and it's less of a we're under attack, which means we'll get shot at, or that they'll group up tighter on the guy, and more likely that they're going to go investigate the fire, and then you guys can sneak in that way. I just don't know how to set the hay on fire. My mind is stuck in D&D, and I don't have a bow and arrow.
I'll dig around in my pocket for a minute and say, well, I put my hand out and there's got some lint, a couple coins, and a box of matches that I've managed to keep dry somehow.
Still requires one of us to run up there and run back.
Or sneak.
Yeah.
I volunteer for tribute. No,
if you can do that armor thing again, you're more likely, even if you get attacked, to be safe, right?
Yeah. It would make sense if you all stay back. I can try to sneak up there and that hay cart. I can throw a couple matches in there, or tear some of those papers off the gate. I'll find a way.
You're also the one that's going to be able to stealth even untrained. So
I'll come. Tell you what, if you do that, I'll come with you. I got stealth.
I appreciate it, brother.
All right.
Saddle up the howitzer shell.
So we're gonna set the fire. I thought we were setting the fire so that you could sneak in and grab the guy.
Oh yeah. So we're doing the fire, or after we plant the artillery shell? A lot of distractions, right? Is that what we're trying to do?
I also couldn't tell if y'all were thinking about, because you mentioned, Matt, that trying to group them up a little bit tighter.
I'm afraid that if we blow your artillery shell, they're gonna assume they're under fire and hunker down in the building with the guy. That makes it
I
way more difficult for us to get to him.
I say there's no reason we can't hedge our bets and see what they do. I mean, why not? I mean, we got a few of us here. We can set up the artillery shells, shoot at that, set the thing on fire, just cause some chaos while somebody sneaks in to try to take them out. They're gonna have to deal with something or the other. We can also set up some, in case they try to come up here or figure out where they're coming from, we can set up some traps and stuff as well. It's the afternoon and we have a few hours.
It's true.
If we set the fire to maybe lure them out, and then use the artillery shell as a trap, that may take out any of those, or some of the resistance at least.
Yeah, I like that idea actually a lot.
All right. So I'm gonna say I'm looking for a investigation check first to see if you can figure out a location that would be good for the trap to go based on.
I have an investigation as a die. I don't know if anyone else does, but
Oh, I do not.
All right. My target number, had I given it yet?
No.
no.
All right. So target number is 2.
All right. So we're doing smarts, right?
Yeah.
Smart. So I'm at 4 for smart. I've
No,
got
it goes off guts actually, is what it says.
guts. I have 4 in guts
I'm
too.
sorry. Yeah,
so
it does.
4 guts, 1 investigation. So that's 5. So I get to roll all of those, correct?
Yeah.
Want to
Because
go
I
there?
have
Yeah.
1. I got 1, a 6, a 3, 4, and a 4. And
Do you have a card you can burn?
I do not have any cards left. Unfortunately. I need a pip
Yep.
somehow. Dang. Oh. So close.
That said, you think you've managed to pick out a good location for where the shell could be placed, where it would do maximum damage to troops coming in to investigate the burning cart. You think you have an idea where they would gather up?
Okay. Because that only gives me, that gave me 1 success on that. If it's 5 and 6.
So it may not be
yeah.
optimal, but right. But
Yeah.
It's not optimal, but it's still a big show.
Yeah. Okay. Close is only important in horseshoes and hand grenades.
And giant artillery.
So they say.
That said, what I'll be looking for next is some stealth checks because they're not expecting anything really. I am looking for a target number of 1. However, with 2 of you going in, are you going to take any more people with you?
So you said we had 3 who were willing to go with us.
Yes.
I don't know anything about the artillery shell, so I wouldn't be the person to go up and stealthily go and plant that. If one of our 3 wants to go with me to watch my back as I go down to check out how to set fire to this cart, I would appreciate that. But the other 2, I'm good with going somewhere else.
So what I am going to offer up If you do a target number 2, you'll be able to guide him with you. Otherwise, I will use the base stats for a soldier, and I will roll for his stealth.
I'll go for the 2.
All right.
I'm going to roll 4 dice holding 2 manipulations back. I got a 5 and a 6 without having to manipulate that further.
Sweet.
So, but I'll take that 4 and I'll turn it to a 5. So I get 3, and I can't do anything else with that.
And for go ahead.
No, please go ahead.
For my stealth of planting the shell, you said that would be 1 stealth or 2 stealth for that.
If you are moving in by yourself to go do that, it's only 1.
Okay, I will go ahead and do that. I will 2 skill, 3 brawn. I'm going to throw an extra dice into that, saving 2 for manipulation. Okay, reroll. I got 1 6. Reroll 2. Reroll 2 more. Burn a card.
Mm.
To bump a 4 to a 5, making a 6 and a 5, and in the frantic run to just find a spot to like plant the shell, trying not to get seen. Let's see, the card I got rid of was a heart. And that's a relationship. There was somebody I used to read books with, and I can't remember who it was. That's the one thought that's kind of running through my head as I'm here with a dangerous amount of ordnance, possibly, in a very dangerous situation of like, I'm not even going to remember who it was that I read that book with. And, put the shell down and get out of there.
All right. Now, the question is, you also need to light a hay bale.
All right.
Yep.
So
I
I
got
have
the
these
matches.
but
good.
Are there, is there anything else that, rather than just tossing a match into the hay? I mean, I don't even know if the hay's wet or what. I don't know exactly what the weather has been. It seems like lighting hay on fire should be relatively easy. But is there anything around that may act as either some kindling or as an accelerant here?
I got my journal. It's made of paper.
Y'all gonna go for that, or do you want to look around?
I'd like to look around.
Journal is a great secondary alternative, but it would mean the end of that as a piece of equipment. However, for a target number of 3 on investigations,
Do you all want to do this as a challenge?
you could.
So we
Figuring
can all
out
kind
the
of
best way to.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'll chip in.
I can only chip in 1 die, and it's completely untrained. It's just using my
How many?
looking
You
around.
brought 1 soldier, correct?
That's right. Yep, I have 1 soldier with me.
I can contribute 5.
Well, what was the skill on this?
The soldier will contribute 1 success.
And I have 1
I'd like it for, I would like it to be the group that is there that has stealth dim.
no
Okay.
successes.
2 successes.
You go.
All right, Charlie and the soldier are helping me out.
All right, you see, with a shattered glass topper, the remains of an oil lamp.
That'll do. Grab that, toss it on.
Excellent. As
All
the oil leaks, I look around, try to make eye contact with my comrades, and as I watch the oil kind of drip out and have a sheen over an area of this hay in this wagon. I'm waiting for some level of acknowledgement, and I'm like, "Shh," and then I strike the matches, take like 2 or 3 of them, and toss them in there, and try to come back to our kind of where we've gone before it becomes the center of attention.
All right. You sneak away and take up position. Are you going all the way back up to the rest of the troops?
Uh, no, yes.
Because y'all have to go and someone's going into the
That's right.
thing, right?
Yeah, that's right. We're gonna kind of try to maybe go around some way, find a path around so we can focus on this. Yeah, to get back into this building.
All right, this is your last chance for a stealth check, which again, same situation. 2 if you want him to sneak with you for the extra soldier, or 1 each with me rolling for that soldier.
Okay, I will hold 1 point back, and I'm gonna roll and try to be stealthy. I have 3 successes.
All right, and so for Charles,
I'm going to roll 3, hold 2 back. That's a 6 and a 4. I'll use one of my held back to bump the 4 to a 5. 2 successes.
awesome. You yourself only needed 1.
Oh, okay.
And
Well,
it's the last round where this will be an option because they're going to be a little bit more heightened after this because they are going to see the smoke.
mhm.
Okay.
Of course, the cry goes up. Not the standard cry you're used to from the alarm, alarm, but rather they're calling out, and a group of soldiers begins to make their way over towards the hay bale.
This be
And
our opportunity to take the shot at the mortar.
Yeah.
Yes.
Are either one of us good at actual shooting?
I have lots of guts, which is what you use for shooting, but I don't have a die.
Yeah, same here.
All right. We could try it together. Both of us take a shot and hope one of us hits.
Man.
technically, you can. So,
What's our target number?
target number on hitting a shell in such a way that the powder will ignite and explode, or hitting the base of it, which is a very small target. I am going to say we are looking at. I'll be a little forgiving since y'all have planned this, and we'll say 2.
Okay.
Okay.
So I'm gonna.
Good.
Maybe your people who put it out in the field positioned it in such a way that the base will be facing you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'll do 3. Hold 1 back since I have 4. Or no, because I don't have a dot in it. So that would.
Yeah. Yeah, you have to spend 1 to get into it, so that leaves you 3.
Yeah. So I'll do 2 and leave 1 back.
I'll roll all 3 of mine.
2. Ah. 2 and 2. No.
Toss a card to re-roll the whole thing. Got 1.
We're.
Wow, and I've got to lose connection. That's good. So I will forget that first time that my father taught me how to ride a horse on the ranch.
That is rough, man.
You're muted, John.
John.
And so giving chat a moment to catch up with us so they
Oh,
can.
wait, hold on. I got it. That was cocked.
There we go.
Doesn't matter. Still won.
All right. And gunfire erupts from above, striking nowhere near the guards. And they begin to take up positions to fire back. And now, finally, the shouts go out for alarm. So we are now going to enter into combat. Yeah, we need to go ahead and do some initiative.
Well, at the very least, we got their attention.
Yep.
I don't have any cards, so I assume that means I go last.
You actually flipped the top card.
Yeah, if you don't have cards, you flip the top card.
All right.
All right. That worked out.
So that said,
King, I assume, is top. It's me.
So you can be chosen to go first.
All right. Okay. So how far are they down this hill?
So let me go ahead and give a little more description. So we are inside of a valley, and of course, these are a part of the Alps, a rockier part of it. It offers a lot more hidden positions and everything else. If you've ever seen Sound of Music, think of those rolling level of green-topped mountains, but ever so often the sharp cliffs. So imagine a valley with your classic medieval village in there. Some of them are straw thatched roofs, some of them are slate taken from the natural surroundings. But we're looking at about 5 or 6 structures that are roughly right downhill from you at probably, I'd say, you felt comfortable going into just within a quarter of a mile. It's a good distance to for people to have to run, and it's right at the edge of what you felt comfortable shooting.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not they are going to take time to get up, and they are going to be shooting back at you every step of the way.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So, how do you all feel about that?
I think we keep trying to shoot the artillery shell, at least while they're close.
All right.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I'm up first, so yeah. So I can try to do it. With your, and if you want to do it together, we can try it together again.
And
Right.
Danny, you as the one who has the king, you not only can choose to go first, but you can also declare who goes first. You know, that's your option in initiative. So you don't have to go first, but
okay.
well within your right. You get to choose who goes first.
All right. Well, I think we should go first, just to try to get some of, at the very least.
So if we try and do a challenge between the two of us, we just have to get a total of 2 successes.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah. I'm gonna try rolling 2 again.
I'm gonna roll all 3. There's a success.
Yes, 1 success. Thank you.
Hey.
We got 2 in between us.
All right. At the top of the round, and in the last ditch effort, you shoot both of you at the canister. There's no way to know exactly who hit it perfectly, but the canister explodes. That said, it was in a good location. I will give you that. It was in a good location. You actually picked well, but you didn't pack the shell. The sides blow out on it in what is a much less concussive blast overall. And you wipe about 8 of them off their legs. But even as the smoke clears, you start to see them start to stand up again. So they have all taken damage, making them a little easier to hit. And I will say that there are 8 soldiers trying to stand back up.
I mean, yeah, it's not nothing.
I assume I pick then? Who goes? at this point. Tedford.
All right. So Mar and I have one soldier with us, and then the other the other two? Is that right?
Two more that were stealthy.
Oh, okay. And then so there's 7 other soldiers who are back with the rest of the. Okay. All
And I'm gonna be a horrible GM. I'm gonna toss this out there. I will let you sacrifice a soldier for basically increasing any test you do, giving yourself a success. But understand that that's a soldier that goes away, or they can aid you. So think about that.
That's rough.
Mm.
Okay. All right. So we're still trying to remain stealthy to get into this house. The gunfire and the explosion, does it appear as though attention is not on us at the
Not
moment?
at all. I mean, they are scattered about the village to some extent, and you're not exactly certain now you're down in the thick of it where they're going to be coming from, but you know you are not their primary target.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna, I guess, roll stealth to keep trying to move forward towards the house and remain unseen. Um, and I'll try to have the soldier kind of point out, just like, hey, follow me. And if he wants to follow me, that's fine.
Okay. So stealth for those of you in the village, if you are trying to get through stealthily, I'm gonna say that you have a target number of I would say 3, but you are not their main target. They are not expecting you, so I will keep it at 2.
I'm gonna roll 5 dice and hold 1 back. And I'm really glad I held 1 back. I got 1 success on those 5 dice. And I got my second success.
There
I
you
did
go.
get a success on those other 3. So that was good. All right. So I got my 2 successes.
Okay.
Sorry about that.
Yep,
Yeah,
sorry.
I can get you too.
Yeah. I want you to go next, Charlie.
Yeah. Okay. Rolled 3, holding 2 back. Got a 5, 2, and a 3, and used the 2 I held back to bump up the 3 to a 5. So 2 5s, 2 successes.
You are weaving your way through this small hamlet, and you're trying very carefully to step in the right places because these are dirt-covered cobblestone roads, so footprints could echo here. And you're about to step out, even stealthily, into an alleyway, trying to make your way when you see, thankfully, the flash of a shadow inside of a window, and 3 German soldiers rush out of a building and head away from you. All right, so sorry about all that. Let's do a quick seance with the audience. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? There we go. All right. So that said, we're going to go ahead and dive right back in. I believe we had our commandos were stealthing and had just
Last
made
thing I
it.
remember is we just captured the guy and killed all of the Germans and made it out.
Won the war.
Exactly what I remember.
We're all going
War's
home.
over. Armistice Day, nailed it.
Hitler was there. He was doing a painting, and you killed him before World War II ever got started.
Exactly. We went back in time.
There you go.
Perfect.
That's
Thanks for joining us, everybody.
yeah. No, but so you saw the shadow in the window, and a group of German commandos run out of a door and leave this alleyway, but moving away from you. So you are very thankful that your stealth rolls worked and you are safe thus far. But that said, we're onwards in our order of events taking place, our initiative order. So what's next?
Let's see. Danny and Matt, you all both You did a challenge to fire at the thing,
Mm-hmm.
at the
All
shell.
4 of us have gone.
So all 4 of us have gone.
Okay.
I guess the
Yeah.
commandos who are, I guess the German commandos.
All right, here we go.
Do we get bonus armor for like hiding behind rocks or stuff?
That's up to John.
I just don't want to get mowed down, but I mean, if I'm going to die, I'm going to die.
Nobody had specifically mentioned it, but it does make sense that you would do that. Therefore, it's not so much armor, but I will let it, let's say it raises your TN by 1. Does
Okay.
that sound good?
Say makes
Because
sense.
armor in this game is a little bit different.
Sure, sure.
That said, 8 Germans are going to stand up. And I'm going to divide them into 3 groups. So they will actually be firing as mobs.
Okay.
So I'm going to say the first group is going to fire at one of your soldiers. And yes, one of the soldiers up there goes down. You are now down to 6 soldiers.
Hmm.
Man, one less success that we can just use.
Or soldier you could come back as if you die.
True. Oh, that's true. Yeah, that's a good point. Oh no, my extra lives.
All right. So the second group, I'm going to say one group is going to fire at Matt, and one group is going to fire at Danielle's character.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah.
Poor George.
You can just dump cards to ignore damage, right?
You can.
Yes.
Speaking of this king that I pulled for my initiative a while ago, keep that or discard it.
Actually, for when it's during initiative, don't you discard?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, it's gone then. So I have no cards. So if I can, it's not going to be good.
Oh, actually, well,
yeah,
so
you
Danny,
do.
you it was a group of 2 that was shooting at you. And so you actually, with the armor from the wall, they only rolled 2 successes, and it's a meter beat system. You technically have 3 right now.
Oh, okay. Cool.
Also, George gets to draw a card.
Oh, I do?
Yeah.
Sweet.
Roxy
audience
gave you
gave it?
one.
Nice.
Yep.
Take that then.
And
Keep it also one card.
Matt, you're going to take a shot with 2 damage.
No, I'm not. I'm just gonna dump one of my cards. Oh,
All right.
I gotta crap. So I'm hit. I've got to talk about how I lose more ambition. That's great. So as I'm being fired upon, my thoughts of going home back to the ranch and seeing my family, those hopes kind of start to bleed away instead of me bleeding. And I can feel like the fatality or the fatalism of the situation kind of pushing down on me. Fatalism is probably not the right word, but we're gonna go with it. I don't care. Oh, Frank gets a card. Hey, thanks.
There we go. All right.
Like,
So that said, now the soldiers who are with you are going to fire. And I'm going to break them up into groups of 2. So that's 2, 2, and 2.
okay.
All right. So out of all the soldiers shooting, only 1 German soldier goes down.
Well, hey, listen, one less. At this rate, there were 9 of us and 8 of them. We still win.
Indeed.
That's logic.
Yeah.
Yeah. The first 2 groups didn't even roll a success.
Nice.
So
Nice.
initiative is starting over.
Okay.
Right.
That's my queen, because that's my low card.
I got
My 6 of hearts.
We're missing somebody. Oh, there you go. I think we let the people in the stealthy side go first.
Mm-hmm. Agreed.
All right.
All right,
So
Charlie, do this, man.
Yep.
I'll follow you.
Okay. Gonna roll. Okay. Do we
Uh,
want the guy dead, or are we just supposed to capture him? Okay, fair enough.
That's my vote. That's my vote.
you are coming up to the area where the house is, and you have not seen any evidence that the Turkish army soldiers have left it yet.
Right.
Hmm. Hmm. So I guess that's going to be a stealth to get past them, or
Stealth at least to get up to the house. If they're still inside, it's not really a matter of getting past them yet.
okay. I only have 3 brawn, and I already got rid of my shovel, so this it is.
But if you need a weapon, here is a knife.
Oh, that'll help. Okay, good. Knife now. And
We have to get to the house, right, John?
Yes.
all
So
right.
stealth, and again, target number is going to be a 2.
Okay. I'm going to roll 3, hold back 2. Ba-ba-ba-ba. Reroll, bump up 1 to a 5, and then reroll the other 2. And there's a 6. So 5 and a 6.
All right, there we go. You are now, you make your way across a brief alleyway through these kind of slate exterior homes. There's a short wall about 3 feet tall that you you know, kind of duck walk along the side of, dodge past some clotheslines that have been placed up. There's still some sheets on it, and use that for a little bit of cover and find yourself now on the exterior of the building near the back. Around the corner is a door that will let you in, and there are also windows, about at least one window on each side. So it pretty much comes down to uh, getting in and taking on whatever might be in there.
That's all you have to do. It's not a lot.
Yes, that's it.
That's
No,
it. It's
no
fine.
problem. No
Back up
problem.
to our
Fine.
soldiers that are not stealthy. So, what are y'all going to do?
Do we want to let one of the groups of Germans go?
Okay.
Or do we want to shoot at them first?
I mean, I think we should shoot at him first.
Okay, let's do that then.
All right. Just one of them or
So-
all of them?
Oh no, we're shooting at them.
Oh, there you go.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll go ahead and fire. I've got guts of 4, so I'll buy one. And then okay, I've got 3 dice.
I'll do 2 and keep 1.
Are we doing it together, Danny? Or are you rolling?
I got 1 success. Oh, are we doing it together, or you just want yourself?
I think you go ahead and go, and then we'll do it individually. That way, we
Okay.
more than one hypothetically.
All right. I got 1 success on my 2. I got 1 and a 5, so I could use my 1 I held back to re-roll, or keep that 1 success.
One success will hit.
Okay. Then I will
And
keep that 1 success.
these soldiers had taken damage from the explosion. And so right now their TN is pretty much on all of them is just 1. They can still shoot well, but they have all taken damage.
Mm-hmm.
And so the TN also represents the health that you would be hitting with your shot, I believe. So that is a brawn of 1. It hits, your gun does 2 points damage at least. and he goes down.
Cool.
How do you roll a critical hit in this?
You do not.
Yeah,
Well, then why does the gun have a critical?
it's
Critical is a ability, which
you buy with points. So if you go,
Oh,
yeah, every
gotcha.
point
Okay,
that you go over the TN to hit becomes a point that you can apply towards something happening later. We really haven't had that happen yet, so that's why I haven't really brought up that rule.
yeah, if you end up having someone who's really, really good or has a high guts and training in ranged, you can go over that target number by like 3 and then buy critical. And critical means instead of just doing the 2 damage that a rifle does, you get to roll a d6. So you could do a lot of damage real bad.
okay. No, that makes a ton of sense. Okay, cool. Then I will go ahead and fire. I'm going to hold back 1 die and roll 2. And then I'm going to use that die to bump this 4 to a 5, so I get 1 success.
All right. So what was once 8 soldiers went down to 7, and with your shots are now down to 5 in that group out there.
Awesome.
Okay.
All right. That leaves though the German soldiers again, and also the your troops. So I'm going to group them again. This time it's going to be a group of 3 and a group of 2. No, yeah. I'm going to do a 2, 2, and 1, and I'm going to have one of them firing at your troops.
Okay.
Firing at the troops misses. They rolled a 3 and a 3. And the first group that was aiming at you, Danny, they are. Let's see, where. Are you at currently? You're at 3, correct?
Yeah, I have 2 brawn plus the wall. Like that gives me the 1 that I've been
Okay.
shooting over.
All right.
Jay and Silent Bob.
So 5, 5, 4, and a 3 is, but they still have 1 point they can use to bump up that 4. So they're going to turn that 4 into a 5.
Okay.
And so that's going to be 2 points of damage.
Okay. I can use my
You-
card to take it
Yes, you
down to
can.
1.
Yes, you can.
All right, I'm gonna do that then. And I once again have no cards, but I took 1 from my brawn.
Yes.
So that hurt. That hurt.
All right. And now on Matt.
George, draw a card.
Oh, yay! Thank you.
Roxas,
Yes.
All right, so I had a 6, 5, and a 4 on my first roll. I used a reroll, and then I this went ahead and which rolled 4 again, spent a point, bumped up to a 5. So that is 3 points, which should also hit you.
That'll kill me.
Do you have any cards?
I do, but even if so, it's 2 damage, right?
It'll be
Because
2
I took
damage.
1 last time.
Oh, you
I
did?
took 1 last time. If I take another 1, that'll kill me.
Okay.
That's all right. I mean, remember, I just remembered that I wasn't going home. Me dying, this is perfect timing.
Okay. So for the rest of the game, if you would like to open up the book to page 70, you can go ahead and take over one of the troop members as a. I'm trying to decide here.
Is it commando? Probably a common soldier.
Common soldier, probably. Or I will be really nice and say you can either be a common soldier on the hillside with helping to fight with Danny, or you can be the soldier that's sneaking in and be a commando.
Oh, I'm gonna go with commando. That's
Sorry,
always
Danny.
a better option. Listen, well, if the common soldier didn't have 2, 2, and 2 for brawn, smarts, and guts, actually, ironically, still shoots better than my last character. That's hard.
Yeah.
Sorry, just imagine your consciousness just like uploaded directly into this soldier, just like a small scream, just like it.
It's the Matrix. He's Mr.
You know what?
Smith.
I'm gonna stay up on the hill. I think Danny needs help up there. Do
Love
I?
it.
Does it change my cards though?
No, we'll go ahead and keep him.
Okay, cool.
I'm feeling nice. Especially since I just killed your character. All right.
How did that happen? How did Frank?
So he was shooting down at the Germans. One of these, the storm one, looked down his sight, aimed it up, shot, and you saw the left side of his skull just dissolve from this shot, and he slumps forward over his rifle.
Frank! God damn it!
It
All
just
right.
bullets right hitting that hill and off the side. You took one, George. Frank took one.
All right. You still have 6 troops left. So breaking it up into groups of 2, 2, and 2 on the common soldier, or actually 5, because one of those soldiers is now Mr. Matt Quiett. So do you want to take over that soldier, or do you want me to go ahead and use him as part of the group?
Oh no, I'll take over that soldier.
All right. So I will go 2, 2, and 1 in just one moment. I'll let you go ahead and take over that soldier.
He is distraught over the death of Frank, so he's going to shoot the guy that shot Frank. That is 2 hits, 2 successes.
There we go. All right. So one more German goes down. They are at 4.
I do
So-
like that they killed the medic first.
Strategy, man.
Yep.
All right.
One more German soldier goes down as basically they are pelting him with rocks. I mean, some of it is driving them into various lanes as they try and run up the hill, and the other one just picked him off. And the final group, oh, there you go. 1 second. Let me double there. The rifle, does it have? It doesn't have any additional abilities. It's just the additional damage on that one, right?
It can do an additional damage or it can do critical.
Yeah. Either way, he goes down. So the Germans are now down to, I believe, that should be 3 people.
Yep.
So coming up the hill at you. So we're going to start over with initiative. So, and right now, guys, I can't just because the reset, I can't see the cards quite yet. So go ahead and if y'all can take care of that really quick.
We got a couple.
I'm going last.
I think the commandos go first again. Go ahead. Like, there's no reason not to.
All right.
Okay. Peeking into the building, how many soldiers are inside?
There are 3 Turkish soldiers. However, they are standing there. They are armed with swords.
I unsheath my saber and just run it across the palm of my hand.
All right. Activating the
ahead.
whisper.
Sorry.
Oh, what was that?
I said, go ahead, Charlie. I'm sorry.
No, I was just like, I watch this. I'm just like, oh, that again, and just hold up my one borrowed knife and get ready to go to town. Look at the soldier behind us and just give the nod with a cold, dead look in my face.
All right.
So we charge in now, or yeah, why not? Is the door unlocked?
It is. The commando
Okay.
looks at you and kind of shrugs and points at himself. Do you want him to go in first?
Sure. Yeah, you have the bayonet. I have only the knife. You go first. I will cover your behind.
Okay. So he is going to throw open the door and charge across the room with his bayonet, going for the one that is on the farthest side of the room, trying to leave y'all with some of the others, and also to build up a little momentum. Yeah, so he rolled a 3, 3, and a 1 starting off with his melee. Thankfully, he does have a brawn of 5. So let's see if he can get it. I mean, technically, he can buy up 2 and 2 and just not have to roll or do anything else. Leaves him with 1 extra point. Meets the difficulty to strike a common soldier on their brawn. And I believe that bayonet should do enough damage that he's going to take down his guy. So that said, which one of you two are going to go next?
I'll charge in with my knife. I have to use. I have 3 brawn. I will have to use 1 to buy into melee. Rolling 2 dice. Okay. I got a 3 and a 2, and in the heat of the moment, I am going to burn a card, a 6 of hearts, and just trying to think. So that's relationships. Gonna try to think of home. Just kind of think of home to like balance myself out, but then realize that I can't remember any of their faces. Just like the guy who I used to read books with. And with that empty thought, I charge in with my knife and re-roll the 2 for a 6 and a 4. So 1 success.
All right. On the common soldier, their brawn is a 2. So
Could I?
he
Yeah. Nah. Okay. Unless I burn my last card to bump up the 4 to a 5.
we have a reroll on the chat.
What?
All right.
Yep.
Yeah, we do have a floating reroll, even if there was another one purchased. But there's a floating. Yeah, use the floating reroll.
Yeah. What do you think?
Okay.
Go ahead.
That's 5.
There you go. Hey.
Thank you, floating reroll, whoever that was.
Thank you.
You
Chat's keeping us going.
Yeah, you cross
Not
that
that from
room,
this.
your heart is just beating. You've never been this close to someone that you're about to kill. And it's in that moment with all of this going on at the same time that you just feel that thought slip from your head. You can't remember. You feel empty, you feel drained. You're just in the heat of the moment of the emotions, and it isn't until you're looking at the blood dripping from the wound and onto your hands that you realize that he's falling backwards. And now we go to Brandon. So what's your character going to do?
So the blood pours from the wound in my hand and covers me in those scabs again. And then with my saber, I follow Mar into the room. There's one more soldier here in this room,
Yes.
and I will raise the saber up and just slash across his body, or attempt to, rather.
All right.
2 dice in melee. I will also roll 3 additional dice, holding
Nice.
manipulations back. Okay, I got 3 successes, and I'm going to spend the last 2 and turn this 3 into a 5. So I have 4 successes. Which
Target
will
numbers
give,
a 2. So were you going to buy something with that?
yeah, with sword, I'll spend the additional 2 to up the damage to 2 damage. So 2 damage total, rather.
All right. You this kind of with all your might slinging the sword in a upward arc, cutting first into his belly, and you feel the sword grip at his ribs as you start start to pull it out, and this eventually breaks away, and you pull your sword free, and the soldier slumps backwards with a look of shock on his face. All right. So that is people in the house, people on the hill.
If
Uh,
they're the only ones left, yeah, people on the hill, right?
how many do we have with us, and how many Germans down in the?
You have 6 still with you. Oh, 5 outside of Matt's takeover character. So there are 6 soldiers and you.
Okay, and how many Germans are still down there?
3, and
Three.
they're going to halt their charge.
All right. Uh, I'm gonna take a. I mean, he's gonna continue shooting. How? I mean, have they moved closer?
They are. They're much closer.
Okay, like how much closer?
Maybe like let's go ahead and just say 50 yards.
Okay, it's still quite a bit down a hill, though, right?
Mhm.
We got rocks, right? We got a wall, right?
Yeah.
Can we push this wall loose and send it down to him?
Sure. You want to go with I'm almost thinking mechanics, but let me see really quick. Maybe knowledge with your smarts, but just double check that. And yeah, let's go. Based on everything, knowledge. Mechanics is much
Knowledge.
more used for machines and other things like that, but I could see knowledge for this.
Okay. And yeah, he's just sitting there with his rifle. He's like, he's just, and he reaches over and he grabs Frank's dog tag and he puts it in his pocket. And he just gets this look on his face and he turns around and he shoves the wall, like to send it tumbling down to the soldiers. And I'm gonna do knowledge. So that would be my guts. Yes, no, that'd be the smarts. So that's 5. And I'm actually not. These rollers are not doing. I'm gonna go
I feel you.
3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Right? Because I don't have to buy in because I have knowledge. So I've got 5. Oh my god!
I love it. I love that reaction.
3 successes.
Hey, there you go.
5, 5, and 5.
Nice.
But the other is a 3 and a 1. So buying another me. But
3 soldiers left, and the rock wall is tumbling, and they're already wounded. And I'm going to say that they're going to go down. So your troops now stand up and begin the march into the city, bayonets ready and probably finishing what little is left of those Germans as they are on the ground.
and George are just standing there breathing hard, like staring down the hill as he watches them like taken out, like like, are you okay, man? But yeah.
All right. Finally, you are looking at the commandos, I guess. If we want to go back to top of initiative, really at this point, you don't see any obvious enemies. If there are any soldiers left in the village, they may have scattered. But for our people inside the house, you get the feeling that there is only one bedroom left. I mean, it's a very small hut, and more than likely, if it is a one-bedroom hut, that's where their commanding officer is.
Hmm.
I look at the commando and Charlie, or Mar rather, and I say, I'll take the brunt, um, and just kind of stand in front, kind of like widen myself so in case there's a shot or anything that comes through the door, and then kind of lower the shoulder to barge through the door.
Hmm.
All right. You barge through the door, and you see the figure of one man who is short, uh, and dressed in the outfit of an officer. is trying to start to make his way out a window. One bodyguard stands in your way in the soldier's uniform, clutching a sword, prepared to take you on. Uh, and he will try to slash out at you as you rush into the room.
Okay. I'll do my job. I'll take it, or try to.
All right, so he's rolling a 1, 5, and a 2 there with his sword, and he's going to get. I'm going to use one reroll for the 1 and the 2.
So, because I have the scabs, the target number is 5 right now.
All right, so even with what he has rolled, the how would you say if he slashes at you and he gets 2 successes, would you say that the scabs protect you in like a way of like a hide, or would you say that you've managed to slide back and out of his reach?
I mean, it acts kind of like a suit of armor. I mean, I wouldn't necessarily say he would, unless he's like lunging at me. He could definitely push me out of the way. That's fine. But it's almost like a cocoon. It's kind of how I've always envisioned it.
All right. Well, for the most part, he does not manage to make the hit to do any damage to you. And he looks at you, and what is happening to you, just eyes aghast, as if he is horrified.
The
Ah,
the gash where he hits, the blood kind of pours out and then congeals.
All right. So, of the 3 of you, what are you going to do?
uh, I I guess I just brandished my knife with the other soldier, pointed at the officer and the man with the sword, bodyguard, and I guess I can attempt communications of just saying, trying to enunciate like, "Give it up, no more dead bodies," and then point to the guy covered in magical scab armor.
All right. Let's go ahead and communications.
Yes. Have a 5 in that. I'm gonna buy in with 1, roll 3, hold 1 to the side.
You effectively are like, hey, make a better decision.
Yeah. Okay, I got what's the target number for this?
So their smarts is going to be a 2.
Oh, okay. I got 1 success, and I'm going to bump. I got a 5, 4, 4, and I'm going to bump up 1, 4 to a 5, making 2 successes.
The officer is going to drop his sword. Or not, sorry, not the officer. The bodyguard drops his sword, and the officer kind of slinks back into the room and slides down the wall, but is clutching this case very closely to himself. We'll say that moments later, the rest of you can arrive there at the house. Soldiers have scattered, and the rest of y'all just pick off whatever's left.
I'll have my saber pointed at the officer until George gets here. And actually, was it George or Mar who actually read the report or the? Oh, okay.
Or
Okay. All right. Well, I'm just making sure that they don't try anything tricky.
I guess I motion for the case to put it on the ground.
He sets it on the ground there in front of you. Does not say a word.
I just pull very carefully, keep my eyes on him, pull the case closer.
It's lighter
Take it.
than you expect.
Say it again.
It's lighter than you expect. It is a case, but you would expect that if it has tomes or books in it, it's not quite heavy enough.
I ask him what's inside.
And this officer mutters something in Turkish. And if there's one word that you can pick up in any of it, it's a word, perhaps jinn or genie.
Hmm. I look at him. I point to the box. I point to the case and say, "Jin," like is like recognition.
Yeah, there's definitely recognition, but there's also fear in his eyes.
I take my belt off. I belt the case closed, and I hold it tight underneath my arm, and then I leave the room.
I
And
will.
I
I will bind these two soldiers here, this officer and the bodyguard here, and I'll let them know that. I mean, I don't know if they speak English, but I will say we'll send we will send some soldiers to take care of you, and we will take you take you under take you prisoner, and I'll motion for some of our soldiers that were outside to come in here and keep them under watch.
Mm-hmm.
The conflict, for the most part, has ended. And out of the entire company that you came with, it looks like only 10 have stood. But you have succeeded. What are you going to do? Are you going to try and march back with the contents or what?
Back.
What did he say was in the case, Mar?
Jin, a magical demon, for lack of a better term, or something that you guys might understand better. And I just keep it very, very tight to me. I
Are
even
you
kind of
sure
like,
Are you sure he just doesn't have some gin? Like, we can get some seltzer. We can pour ourselves a pretty good drink.
no, Jin. Jin. It's the word. It's a folk myth, creature, monster, demon. It's bad stuff. Something I wouldn't normally believe in, and then I kind of like point you up and down with the remnants of the scabs falling off of you. And just
It is nothing you want to mess with.
no.
Then should this be? Should we deliver this to our superiors?
Absolutely not. George is like, absolutely not. There's no way that anybody can control something like that. From the stuff that I've seen, if Jin actually exists, there's no way either side, the Germans or our side, could handle this sort of thing. They thought they could. Is this what they were talking about when they said this could turn the tide of the war? They were Jin to go ahead and try to keep control. Okay, that is okay. I know superiors sometimes don't have the best plans, but this is kind of a new low for bad plans because there's no way anybody would be able to control anything like a Jin.
John, do the whispers? Do I hear anything, or if I was going to try to open myself up, can I make a general whispers check or a knowledge check to see what I'm hearing?
Oh, absolutely. Go ahead and go for knowledge.
Uh, can I actually just use whispers?
Yeah, let's go to
Okay.
whispers.
So I have one die in whispers.
I'm going to tell you that the TN is going to be 2.
Okay, and
With a possibility of corruption if you do not make it.
okay. Great. Well, I'm going to take the first card off of this deck and see what it is.
Oh boy.
Okay, and now, John, I know what it is because I did a corruption check, and now I'm going to put it on the table so, John, you can pick it up and take a look at it. So you know what it is.
He doesn't have access right now.
Oh, he doesn't have access to it. Great. Well, hey, through the magic of role playing, you all know that I took a corruption check, but you don't know the results of it.
Okay.
Well, that's good. Nothing bad can happen there.
You as players know that I took a corruption check as I'm
Right.
trying to commune with the spirits.
1,000 voices from inside whisper to you, "Let us out." But you also
I
now know that they aren't in the box. They're in something else that's inside the box.
I'll let you all know that. I would say the case itself is not the issue. The whatever is contained here is in something within the case. The case is it may further contain them, but um, but they are being asked to be let out.
I'm just gonna say I'm not risking it, and ask if we can just bury it somewhere out here.
Can we
I think the best thing to do is one of us take it. I know this is going to sound extreme, but one of us should take it somewhere, bury it so nobody else knows where it is. But then they also need to not be able to tell anybody where it is.
Volunteer.
Nobody should be.
Great look, Charlie.
When you say won't be able to tell it, are we talking like just keep it a secret, or okay? Well, I can't remember anybody's faces, and I don't remember where I came from, and I'm gonna be honest, I haven't had a good night's sleep in months at this point. So if anybody asks about my name, just tell them I did good. And I'm going to turn with the knife, just out, up the hill, over the hill somewhere with the box, disappear for probably about 4 hours before coming back. And just stand there, straighten up my shirt, my coat, and just say, it's done.
I'm gonna look over at George expectantly.
George will pull out his pistol.
I just close my eyes and try to remember the faces and not think about the light and the roar.
George takes his pistol,
I turn my back.
aims straight for the head, the forehead. Straight clean kill.
Mm-hmm. And I will let myself go.
All right.
Ah.
That said, the whispers call out in sadness. Once again, Epimetheus's bane is gone. And I think we're going to go ahead and end it there for the evening. All of you have had a interesting time, I hope.
That was great. That was great.
Oh boy.
George will, of course, take Marv's dog tags, and
Yes.
so you can tell him about his heroism.
Also the
Good,
journal that's
good.
not burned.
So
Wait,
for
what
fun, just really quick for fun and to wrap this up, does anybody here know who Epimetheus is?
No.
He's not as famous as his wife.
Google does.
Yeah.
Okay, hold on. Yes.
Oh, I should have known. I should have known this.
So, for our viewers out there, Epimetheus is better known as the husband of Pandora.
Yeah.
And depending on on what level you take the mythology, he is much more responsible for what ended up happening with the release of the creatures and whatever else was in there.
Yeah.
Essentially, as the GM, just saying that since we are closing down the game, if it had gotten opened, I was going to say that this was going to be the equivalent of the Battle of Marne all over again, but on this front.
Oh man.
Jeez.
So, yeah, y'all would have had the doorway. Think of it this way. I mean, from the Pandora's box, the legend is that it opened up and all these evils came through. So I was like, the parallel between that and all the evils coming across from the veil. Why not? Why not make that the mythology for this episode?
Right. No, and I love that, having a threat of that level that, could be, just entered into the scenario, entered into the setting, but also have the average soldier take that burden on and wander off and bury it in the mountainside.
Mhm. I got 5 smarts. I know what's smart.
So does George. They both
Yeah,
knew
George,
it was going to be the best thing for humanity.
Yeah,
From the-
I want to say George got the raw deal, but well, we had 2
Yeah.
people die, so
So from the bottom of my heart, though, I really hope you all enjoyed the game. I know that this can be a super heavy system, but I do enjoy.
But-
I enjoy the opportunity to feel. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, I think we bring him back for his game he's currently working on using the same system because I feel like that one might be a little easier on the
Oh.
emotion.
Heck,
doggos.
Yeah.
we'll definitely come back for Heckin' Good Doggos. That is it's a good palate cleanser.
Would you say
Sounds
it's
good.
it's a heckin' good game? Is that what you would say?
It's such a good game.
Who's a good game? Who's a very good game? Who's a good game? You are.
Excellent. Well, guys, I really hope you all enjoyed this experience. The opportunity to have your game ran for you and for somebody to be willing to throw some curveballs at you.
Yeah, it was awesome. Charlie, this was your first experience with the game. We didn't get to play it at Gen Con. So
No, we didn't.
yeah.
Never worked out. Like I was always like scurrying around or falling asleep or something like that. And then finally I thought like, oh yeah, don't worry. Next Gen Con, definitely gonna play. And then,
And then you unleashed a pandemic. How dare you?
yeah, it was like, oh, it was my fault. That's what happened.
I really enjoyed this, John, and everyone. Danny, Matt, thank you so much. Roxy, thanks for running this behind the scenes. From a system designer standpoint, I think this is always awesome to see and have other people get to play and kick the tires of a system, and it's always great to have to interact with Charlie. And I'm glad you got to finally play the game that you're just horrifying and beautiful art inspired. So
Oh, yes.
Absolutely.
It was it's always fun doing illustrations for it. I admit like I am looking like I kind of miss doing it. I'm very happy with like the work I'm doing now for a new book, shall we say. But like, part of me does like look back at all the old World War Cult work and I'm just like, "Oh, I remember drawing gas masks," and yeah.
Honestly, looking
It's
back
really
at
nice to
gas
like
masks, that's a good Call of Cthulhu sign of Santa
Yeah.
Claus.
But yes, like doing all the art for it was always fun, and it was very weird to see it like turned into like a real like big expansive thing, and now step further, like people are playing the game, and yeah, it's neat, and I'm happy.
I
Well,
love
I've just thrown
fan art like of people who do art inspired by the game. I'm like, Charlie, look at this.
Yeah, it's like, oh, okay.
I dropped a
Yep.
link to the Drive-Thru RPG page for wedding games. You can definitely pick it up over there. It's actually looks like it's on sale right now for $10
It
for the
is.
base book, which that's a honestly it's art-wise it's such a pretty book. Not pretty because those are disturbing images. Such good art.
It's striking. It's very striking.
And honestly, the books themselves are not expensive. Definitely worth picking up at least the base book to get a feel for the system. It's there's a lot there to play too. So definitely check those out over on Drive-Thru RPG.
Yep. Oh, sorry. Really quick, because I'm gonna be making some really quick announcements. Do y'all have anything y'all want to toss out there for the audience, or anything y'all just want to say?
I mean, it's kind of old hat at this point, but we're running a Kickstarter for the second. If you like my artwork and wedding games, we're running a Kickstarter for one of my books, Into the Weird and Wild, revised and reprinted. It is on Kickstarter for 5 more days. If you just look up Into the Weird and Wild Kickstarter, you can find it there. And yeah, 5 more days if you want to grab yourself a copy, because I don't know when we'll be making more copies. And if you ever see me at a convention, if I'm at conventions again, ask me the fun story about how I almost lost all of the files for that book. So,
Oh no.
You can also find that in the chat as well to the Kickstarter. Take you right to it. And
Yes.
that art is also just as haunting. Thank you for nightmares.
Yay!
Danny, you got anything you want to toss out?
Sure. At the end of my games, we always stars, which is we give somebody a moment that we really appreciated about their character storytelling in the game. I found they've been a really good way for me to grow as a GM player, and a validation as a briefer. So nobody minds. I would like to give everybody a quick star for the game. Charlie sacrificing Mar for the good of humanity was awesome, and using your shovel was great. I really appreciated those moments. And Matt, Frank dying was really motivator for George to get up there and rest assured that he is going to make sure that his family finds out that, he died protecting everybody else and everything like that. And as for Tedford going in there with his arm, taking the guy out, I mean, I thought that was great. And as far as the running the game and start, I mean, it was great. I mean, I really felt it. The atmosphere and the threat, and I could picture it. I could almost hear the guns firing, thing like that, and stuff. So it was really great, John. I appreciate that. And if everybody wants to check out stuff that I'm co-writing, you can check out Ironbound, Guardians of Novala, which is Witches versus Machines. If you like Dark Crystal, Labyrinth, and all of that sort of thing, and Pirates of Darkwater and Legend of Zelda, then this is the type of setting that you might appreciate. So, for sure. And they've played it on here, so
Yes,
you can
we
check
do
out their
have an actual
adventures.
play of the Ironbound. It is on our YouTube channel for Passion Nerdly, which we will, as soon as we can, be changing over to Rook and Rasp, but it should still have the same link. And then Brandon.
I just want to echo Charlie in Into the Weird and Wild. I think by the time this goes on YouTube, the Kickstarter is going to be over. However, the for all everyone here, it's great, and I know there are future plans for books like this with a different take on some things that we've seen in the past. So still there's a couple more in this vein. Charlie and Alex and everyone at Feral Indie are fantastic. So anyway, yeah, always check out our stuff. Check out Feral Indie Studios and all the stuff on itch.io. Because we don't have an itch.io, but I always point people over there because of all of the things that they do. Yeah, Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, blah blah blah.
All right. And that said, so seriously, let's play. This game started off as a podcast. All those podcasts are still available out there, including the previous one we did for Never Going Home, which was the end of season 1. Season 2 is a whole slew of different cyberpunk games that we ran, which I enjoyed thoroughly putting those out. And all the games, or most of the games for uh, that show, for that podcast, are also soundscaped. They are soundscaped per show. So I really hope people go out and take a look at those. That said, so announcement. Next month, we will be doing another Seriously Let's Play. And I'm going to be not only stepping in as the GM, but I'm also introducing one of my properties. It is going to be the first look at an actual game of the game I've made called Gutter Punk. And joining me at the table will be joining me at the table will be Eloy Lasanta is going to be joining me to play. We also will have McGuire from John McGuire from Vintage RPG podcast. And he is also was with Pensy Park, which was a punk band in the late 2000s, played with My Chemical Romance. And so having him on the show is going to be cool. And we're also going to have one of the authors of Moonpunk is going to be coming to join us. And still in the works, but he is discussing it right now. We might have Michael Holmes joining us from Saving Throw Show. He was on there briefly, and he also was with Games We Never Played, which is a podcast ran by, I believe, Stephen Pope. So yeah, that is in 1 month. So that said, we love you guys. We are so thankful for everyone coming on and joining us for this experience, and we hope to see you back then. Next week is going to be, I believe, if I am recovered. I have dental surgery, but if I'm recovered, we will have our next episode of Growing Shadows, our Ninja Crusade second edition role playing actual play. So there we go. That's my spiel for the evening. My players will stay